to relearn what a brother is. I had to relearn what a sister is. I had to relearn what a mother is. There is no other him. Watch your mouth, fix your lips. I am learning to compartmentalize what I find with my mentals. I could have been labeled mental voices in my head. If I speak to the wrong one, I'll be diagnosed schizophrenic. Creating pollution you can't escape from. We're Captain Planet. Where's Captain Planet? And it's exactly how they planned it. It's insanity, stayed in a state of sanity. But I'm the scribe, keep a record on the record. I break records. This, that, Neteru, Neteru, echo, living, lively, times 3, Trinity. We are not the same, not even similes. Plant the seed, a man receive excellence, adoration, testaments, evaluation, literally. The love is real, yet they be hating. Salutations, I wait to master patience. Acting lackadaisy on your facts, I'm backed by conscious beings. I am free, can't lock the wings in. The diction is firm, call me men. A man 3 in 1, erection, protection, firm. Spitting life into who I speak to like sperm. Creation is a who I earned. The right to fully see it through. The heart as I rise through. Manu, Akut, lost it when I had to find you. I'm through, times 2, dualism, we will align soon. As I meditate in my room, it becomes a space of pure truth aligned with my art. Verbiage is time for more than the 2 eyes. I can see the veil underneath that other veil. Focus when I am locked in. I don't need a cell. Tell me you don't see the trap. Tower power over enemies, frozen over hell, reversing spells. Fell from the skies, the body is disguised. If you needed a sign, well this is it. I hope you read between the lines, left, right. After the first step, I write what's left in me. This is destiny, keep on moving, especially if you find blockage. No amount of pushback will stop this. This will get capped in stone, they cannot top this. Pyro, fire, Va is my attire. Inspire the ones chosen, the ones open, the ones spoken. From times when life was once spoken. Enchantments, Nesu, double tongue in motion. Give, receive, keep moving and move for keeps. Keep it real, keep the master key. I had to master me. Mirror glass shattered in my dreams. I didn't like the image till I realized I am the image of the image. I'm here for keeps, keep your distance. Social gimmicks, our stories told within the hieroglyphics. Mystics, just keep on living, we're gifted. Our stories told within the hieroglyphics. A language living, just keep on living. Keep on moving. Keep on moving. Keep on moving. Keep on moving. Keep. I had to relearn what a brother is. I had to relearn what a sister is. I had to relearn what a mother is. There is no other him. Watch your mouth, fix your lips. Yeah, motivate a nation. Stepping out the spaceship, causing a spaceship. Faced with revealing the spells within this matrix from the Masons. But I'm the architect, best respect, I can architect. Rule your rulership, I hold the heck. Control my thoughts, still move when the game is paused. We speak heck up, this is the best of Medu Neteru, bars like Wi-Fi, we're connected. Always on time, frequency and flow through frequency. I know the power I hold in my throat. Creation, destruction, with every single thing I've spoke. Enter, Neteru, Kurt, show your worth, heal from all the hurt. Not a singer, best believe I hold a note. Read between the lines, you're not really lost in that. I hope you find exactly what you are looking for. This is more than words, taught myself to heal myself. I come from the dirt, no time for slacking or bad habits. Sad tactics of bringing mad tragic mental processes that lack passion. Spit fire, black dragon, school of hard knocks, things you backpacking. My eyes, when this appears, it's like magic. The fact is, when it's wartime, we go savage. Shield of armor 720, prevent backstabbing all the fiends of good-hearted beings. They don't suit the role, they lack the fashion. So just keep on moving. Keep on moving. Keep on moving. Keep. I had to relearn what a brother is. I had to relearn.
HOTEP, Uncle Maat, HOTEP. Peace and love, everybody. Welcome to the House of Aten, Study Guide Sunday, Ancient Tehuti and Teachings of the Neteru. How's my sound, brothers?
Sounds good. I think I hear a little wind in the background, but other than that, you sound pretty good.
Okay. Welcome, everybody.
There it goes. It cleared out.
The Ancient Tehuti and Teachings of the Neteru presents Who Are the Neteru by ATEF Rem Qem Maat. Before I introduce the brothers on the panel, we will begin as we do every week with our beautiful affirmation. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Unki en Maat, Un en Es, Nintet or Set en Maat, Min Hepapat en Maat, Per in Hukui, Per Ikut. I live for Maat, I exist within her, I do not speak in the place of Maat. Every day I advance towards Maat. My being is surrounded in darkness. I come forth as conscious light. Peace and love, everybody. I'm going to introduce everyone on the panel. First, I'm going to begin with our great general. Peace and love to you, Henu Ahati Maat. Ahati Maat was taught under the great Tehuti Amenhotep Ra. He has been a serious student and teacher of Kemetic culture and history for several years. He has written multiple books, including the textbook called Journey of Your Soul series, essays, and articles. Furthermore, he hosts in-person and online classes, weekly podcasts, and periodically creates documentaries. He also has experience in public speaking and academic debating, and he is responsible for the creation of this study guide. Next, we have the great scribe, Ani Ptah Aten Tehuti, is a representative of the Neteru. He has been searching for the source since a young man and has now found it with Maat, and with the guidance of Saba Tehuti, who gave him his name to be a reflection of him as Aten Tehuti. As he continues to dig and implement his studies to create the highest quality of presentations with factual information to teach his people. He also creates sound vibrational tones to heal the soul and break the spells of negative hypnosis. He uses sound vibration and conscious thought to recreate the mindset of the Neteru. Next, we have the mighty Menkhu Ra. Meri Maat is a student and master teacher of Saba Tehuti Amenhotep Ra and a follower of Maat. Menkhu Ra is the Heb, the festivities organizer in the House of Aten, cultural enlightenment advisor and teacher, developer of the Pathways of Awakening, and a director and producer of documentaries. He is a researcher of ancient civilizations and research of the knowledge of spells. And last but not least, the presenter for the night is me, ATEF Rem Qem Maat. I'm an esteemed steward of the venerable House of Aten. As a devoted disciple of the master teacher, the illustrious Tehuti Amenhotep Ra, I proudly undertake the role of the sagacious host for the weekly gathering within the sacred halls of the House of Aten. Here, we delve into the profound teachings that illuminate the path of Maat. In the sacred sanctuary of the House of Aten, I guide fellow seekers on a journey of enlightenment and understanding, drawing from the wellspring of ancient wisdom. Our gatherings are profound explorations into the depths of truth, meticulously deciphered through the lens of ancestral artifacts and the profound teachings bestowed upon us by the great Saba Tehuti Amenhotep Ra. My commitment to the pursuit of wisdom extends beyond the confines of our weekly gatherings. As a true-hearted devotee of truth, I strive to embody the essence of Maat in all aspects of life, expressing unwavering love for my people. My soul resonates with the harmonious frequencies of the Medu Netra. I stand as a loyal guardian of Maat, steadfastly defending the sacred principles that govern our existence within the House of Aten. Welcome, everybody, to the House of Aten. HOTEP, great brothers.
HOTEP, peace and love. Peace, brother Menkhu Ra.
HOTEP, peace.
Peace and
love. How you doing, great brother?
Doing well. How you brothers doing?
Great, brother. Great. Having a wonderful day so far. Looking forward to these readings, brother, trying to connect these dots. That was a great presentation last week. I'm a follow up with a little bit of Budge's readings, just to collaborate with you with the Neteru to give a little bit of insight into the Neteru, what some of the Egyptologists thought, and those of us that are here, we should be able to you know, decipher the real from the fake, because it's a lot of you know, a lot of things that Budge did not understand or follow, but he did study Kemet. So I'm looking forward to reading from his book today, brother.
Beautiful. Yes. It's great that we're in unison and we're in alignment. So I'm looking forward to hearing these stories from Budge that I have not heard before.
All right. Yes, peace and love, everyone. Great brother Menkhu, Rob, Meri, Maat, you have anything you want to say or announce before I go through the support and run through a few of these overlays here?
Just peace and love to the brothers on the panel, Henu and Kes, to you, and peace and love to the chat. Looking forward to the interaction with everyone and just learning and growing. So I'm looking forward to a test presentation. So I'll send it back to you, Aten Tehuti.
Okay. Give me just a few seconds here. Get this up and ready. All right, HOTEP, everyone, peace and love. Again, welcome to the House of Aten. Let's give a shout out to some people in the chat. Ox Effect, peace and love. HOTEP, Maat, Meri, Aout. First one in the chat, peace and love, great brother. Wonderful, active member of the House of Aten. We got VRI in the building. He says HOTEP, HOA, peace and love. Nukpu. Maat, HOTEP, Neterus, Henu, Saba, Neter, Tehuti, Anki, and Maat. Peace, good brother. Nukpu, Maat, Karu, Amun, Ray. To all for being here with us and being a wonderful supporter and member of the House of Aten. We have the lovely Nefer Keperet, who is in the building, says HOTEP, everyone. Peace and love to you. Primordial Thought 9, the great moderator of the House of Aten. He's the one who posts all the links. The links are there for you all to utilize throughout the class. And what I'm going to do right now with this link that we see is I'm going to pin it to the top of the chat. And what that does is it keeps it locked at the very top of the chat. So it's always there. So if anyone wants to know, how to support, then that's all you have to do is just hit the top of the link that is now pinned at the top. So shout out to the great moderator, Primordial Thought 9. Peace and love, great brother. We have Stranger in the building. Peace. Humble Books LLC. I haven't seen this name in a while. He says, or she, I'm not sure. Peace. I can't wait to run the live back. Appreciate everything. Yes, peace and love to our Golden Eye, HOTEP Neb. Peace. Says Shait. Says HOTEP family. All right, we have everyone here. Wonderful. It's glad to see you all here. I know that Saba Tehuti just came out of an interview with Sa Neter. That's why we started late, because we wanted to be there to support the great Saba Tehuti while he's doing his interview over on Sa Neter. So shout out to Sa Neter for hosting Saba Tehuti and having a wonderful interview where some information was able to be disseminated and given without all the arguing. So it's wonderful to experience that and see that. So peace and love to Sa Neter for that. All right. So before we get started, the great brother ATEF Rem Qem Maat reads some writings. I'm gonna run through some of the, of course, beautiful avenues that we have. So we also stream live on Rumble. So make sure you are also subscribed on Rumble because YouTube is very restrictive in a lot of what you can teach and talk about. So sometimes things have to get chopped and cut out, and Rumble, everything stays up there the same. So just in case anything ever happens to this YouTube, make sure you are here on Rumble. because that is where we will be. All right. MetaNetter Mondays, the great Saba Tehuti hosts a MetaNetter class every single Monday, 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. Email mysticaltelevision@gmail.com, or you can go to houseofaten.org/MeduNetter and email Saba Tehuti and let him know that you'd like to be a part of the class, or I think we're number 62, if I'm not mistaken, of MetaNetter classes. It's at least a free will donation of at least $20, extremely affordable for everyone on the planet to be a part of this class that is extremely magical and powerful when utilizing and learning how the ancient people thought and learning the language of the MetaNetter. So everyone should be a part of this class. Everyone should have the recordings of these classes. You know, so make sure you all are a part of that. We also have a beautiful Discord community that we host monthly meetings there. At the end of, it's the last Friday of every single month, we host a monthly community meeting that's open for everyone. And they're beautiful environments where we all can come in and just express and let our thoughts be heard. Some things that you would like to see implemented, or just speak about, you know, some things you may be experiencing. And, you know, it's just an open platform just to build, right? It's just a platform to build up and support each other and let each other know that we are there for one another here at the House of Aten. And I also host a class for all of the members of the House of Aten. So if you want to become a member of the House of Aten, of course, just go to houseofaten.org, hit that message and say, I'd like to become a member. Or you can email me at Ptah@houseofaten.org. And so I host a free class for all of the members on Wednesdays, every other Wednesday during the month. So sometimes there's 2, sometimes there's 3 classes a month. And it's a very powerful class where we go over the Sebayit, which is the MetaNetter word for teachings or instructions. And so if you look up here at the top left, I have a Sebayit writing from Ptah HOTEP, which is known as the oldest book on the planet. Search thyself for every flaw thoroughly, until there exists in your comportment no fault. Great is Maat and ever at the ready. So we just concluded the teachings of Ptah HOTEP in our last class, and it was beautiful. So we have 9 classes of breaking down the Pris Papyrus, which not only has the teachings of Ptah HOTEP, but also have the teachings of Kagimni. So the members, this is a class I host for free for the members, for you all to come in. And I also allow for you know, people to invite people in. So you can invite someone in for a class, for a session, to get a feel and just to see what we're doing here. So I do employ that. You know, you can bring someone in and allow them into the frequency of Maat for a class, and that's something that we can also utilize. So next classes, we'll be going into the teachings of Ankh Shesh Ankh, which are going to be phenomenal. It's going to be beautiful again. So just hit me up to become a member, Ptah, houseofaten.org, or just message me on the website. All right. So we also have a business promotion section. So anyone who has a business you want to promote here on the House of Aten, just reach out and we would love to promote you. We also want to promote the creators, the creatives, those who do artistry, whether you rap, whether you do poetry, whether you paint, you draw, whether you create pottery. I would love for someone who does pottery. So that would be beautiful. You know, anything that you all do, this is a platform that you can come up and showcase your talents and your skill set. Okay, so we definitely want to promote that. So again, just reach out, houseofaten.org. And lastly, we are a system based on reciprocity, which is a foundation of Maat, which everyone should know by now. Is also a representation of the scales, which is called the Maka'it, right? And it's meant to be balanced. And so that's the word met or med, means to be straightforward or met. And then later create your med or your medicine or your meditation. All comes from met, Maat, which is the mother, Mut. And so this is a system based on reciprocity, and it's a beautiful thing. We provide teachings, readings for everyone. Everything that we're doing under the House of Aten, and all that we ask is that you support through either the Cash App or the PayPal, so we can continue to move. We just had our first annual gathering at the Pathways to Awakening in Los Angeles, California, where we gathered, rented a beautiful venue, had some wonderful food. We had some beautiful Nefer DJ, and so we're doing a lot, and it's the support that you all give that not only motivates us to continue to keep moving forward, because we know that the people want this. It's an energy currency reciprocity system. So Tua and Hinu to all the great supporters. So be sure to hit that link that's pinned to the top. And before I pass it to the great brother ATEF Rem Qem, we're going to go through some of the support that has come in prior to this class. So, okay, let me share the screen. And here we have Komet Heru Hancock, who sent in $10. And he says, for supporting the teachings. To our good brother for supporting. I noticed that you sent it to our old Cash App when we were under the name Teachings of Maat. So we no longer utilize that, but I still have it just in case for situations like this. But we now, our new Cash App now that I just showed is House of Aten, right? It's House of Aten. So be sure to utilize those links and update those links so that you can make sure to send them to the correct place. So peace and love, Komet Heru Hancock, for the support. We truly appreciate that. All right, next we have Lena, who sent in $20, and she sent it in for membership because she took the initiative and took the step to becoming a official member of the House of Aten. So here's the latest member of the House of Aten, the wonderful, beautiful Lena. To our sister, we appreciate you making that step and taking that leading with the left and becoming a member. We appreciate you and the support that you give us and the great Saba Tehuti here at the House of Aten. All right, next we have Emmanuel Rodriguez, Nukpu, who sent in 333, and he also sent in another. So let me read this one first. HOTEP, Hinu, Nefer, Neteru, Maat, and here we have this one, another 333 for Ma'akaru, Ma'akaru, Ma'akaru. All right, yes, to our good brother, another fantastic, consistent member of the House of Aten. We have some of the greatest netters and netterettes, the greatest people who support us and who are building that which is necessary to become netters and to become netterettes. Okay, so everyone is definitely putting in the necessary work. And this great brother is very consistent, speaks in meta netter consistently. So to our good brother for your support and what you provide to the House of Aten. All right, next we have Robert E. Williams Jr., who sent in 1010 for the replay was epic. The Neteru are great. All right, peace and love. Another extremely consistent brother who I look forward to reaching out to become a House of Aten member officially. He's extremely consistent. He supports the Neteru, he supports Maat, he supports Tehuti. So again, excellent brother. So Tua, and we appreciate the support that you provide. All right, and next we have the great moderator, Primordial Thought 9, who sends in $10 for Henu to the House of Aten. All right. So this great brother here is fantastic. I see the evolution that's happening right before our eyes. So Henu to this great brother, and definitely want to give him his praise and adoration because he is doing some wonderful things. Also behind the scenes as well that I know he's working on. So it's wonderful for to be a part of that and to see what this great brother is going to be doing. Okay, so I also want to show his the support for the membership, of course. So he sent in $10 for the membership for January. So let's also give him a round of applause for that. All right, so Tua again, and then let me also do the same for Nukpu, who paid for 3 months. So sometimes it's a month-by-month basis, or sometimes people pay up a few months. So Nukpu sent in $33.33 for 3 months. HOTEP Neter Tua. So let's give him another round of applause for that. All right, yes, to our good brother. And lastly, I'm going to show another great member who paid up his tuition for the year. So some people also do this as well. So here we have Eric G. That's It, who sends in $120 for 2024 membership payment.
That's how it's done.
Peace, good brother Eric G. Tua. Go ahead and give him a cheer, Menkhu. All right. to our good brother Eric G. For being a member of the House of Aten and playing your part wonderfully. And we appreciate you and the support that you provide for the House of Aten.
Wow.
All right.
Powerful, beautiful, supportive, strong unity family we building. That is, man, that is very inspirational. Henu to you all. You all are, man, this is so magical. Man, this is crazy.
Yes, absolutely. We have the greatest supporters, period, anywhere. And so this is wonderful. Hinu to everyone. I want to read this comment. Nefer Keperet says, make sure everyone hits that like button. And I noticed on YouTube, there's like some new update. So when you say hit the like button actually like lights up So it helps to bring people's attention. So subscribe and hit the like button. And it helps us. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We're just over 900. And so this is the first time I'm actually even saying anything to reach anything. So go ahead and put that out there to push to get towards that 1,000 subscriber mark. Just nothing on teachings for the past year and 3 months. We almost are at that 1,000 subscriber mark off pure teachings. So I'm proud of everyone who's a part of the House of Aten, of all the great brothers who you see on the panel, the good brother Ahati Maat, and of course our great brother Saba Tehuti. So we're going to keep doing what we're doing, keep striving for excellence, Sa'ak Aker, to collect excellence, and do what we do and represent the Neteru. So Hotep Maat, peace and love, and I'll pass the mic to the presenter, ATEF Rem Qem Maat. Peace.
Peace, Hotep Maat. How's my sound, guys? Can y'all hear me? How's my sound?
Yeah.
Okay, peace and love, Hotep. So
There's some background noise.
There's some background noise?
And some
like
feedback.
Yeah, and the feedback in the fan.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Okay.
Ani, I like that background with the war crown. Is that the war crown?
Okay, how's
Yes,
that?
that's what they call the war crown. And that's the question I sent in for the
Can y'all
next
hear me?
meta class. So hopefully,
Peace.
yes, we hear you.
You're on mute, brother. I don't know if you're talking on me. Can you hear me?
No, I'm not on mute.
Yeah, I can hear him. Can you hear us?
I don't think he can hear us.
I can't hear you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. While you work that out, wait, you asked a question for the metal class tomorrow?
Yes.
Peace.
Peace. Can you hear us? Mic check. ATEF Rem Qem Maat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, on the blue crown.
can't
what
hear.
they call the-
I think I'm
what
gonna
they
have to
call
go
the
out
war
and come
crown.
back in, bro.
Okay, go
Okay.
out and come back in. We'll be here.
Can't hear nothing.
Okay.
I check. Too many buttons. That's right. Hold on. I'm gonna go out and come back in.
Okay, great, brother.
But yes, the blue crown, and that is something that I always ask, because even when you look at this image, there's no, what people, you see it in war, but he's giving adoration to Aten. And this crown is called the Kepresh, the Keper-S crown. So in the last Meta class, which everyone who was in the Meta class, Saba Tehuti broke down white, right? The hetch and what white means, and in different areas, because that's another beautiful thing about Maat and Kemet is the duality. So he taught about the hetch and white, and eventually led to the crowns, and he showed this blue crown, and I definitely want more information on that, because when you look it up, there's very few information on it. You have to, of course, go into the sources, which we know Saba Tehuti has always done. So I think it's going to be another beautiful Meta class, just to add on to that part 2 of that last Meta class, because that was fire.
The last one, he was throwing axes. He is on an axe throwing spree right now. He is taking no prisoners. He is taking no prisoners. That last Medu class was light beams. It was straight light beams, and I love how he shared Aten's philosophy on war. So that was really beautiful really beautiful information. But Akhenaten, I think his mom was on something different, if I remember correctly, of what Saba was teaching.
Yeah, she definitely wasn't there to play no games. She was ready. All right, great brother Tef Rem Qem Maat. Can you hear us?
Y'all hear me? Yeah. How do I sound? Y'all sound great.
Now you sound far away. You sound like you're in the kitchen.
What about right now? Can you hear me?
It's kind of low.
What about now? No?
No.
Still not? Oh man, what's going on?
We can hear you, but you're not as loud as you just were.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe your volume just needs to go up a little bit.
Okay, what about now?
Yeah, there we go.
You good?
Yeah.
I'm learning the buttons. All right, HOTEP, peace and love, everybody. Let me screen share. So, like I said, I'm gonna be I usually like to read, and I will get back to it again. Reading what there's a little bit of what the people said themselves, but I just wanted to go into a little bit of what Budge talks about in the conception of the Neteru. And I'm gonna screen share right there, present. Welcome everybody. All right, is my screen sharing?
Yes.
Okay, HOTEP. So we're going to be reading from this book right here. You can buy it on Amazon. It is The Gods of the Egyptians, Volume 1. And like I said, when I purchased this book, I had no idea what I was purchasing. But I heard Saba speak about it on one of the platforms. And at that time, I had just begun my journey on really, truly dedicating myself to really seeking out the truth. And I had said to myself that anytime I hear somebody mention a book, that I was just going to make a mental note of it and maybe purchase it or look into seeing if I could obtain it. So at that time, he was mentioning all of these books, and this was one of the books that he mentioned. So I purchased it. And by the way, let me just show. Oh, I can't show everybody. I don't know. My screen is on. But yesterday's pod class, he talked about this game, the Senet game, Rem Qem. I'm definitely looking forward to playing this with my family tomorrow. There's no school, so I'm definitely going to be playing in it. And this is a nice game too. It's wooden. It looks very sturdy. But I'm going to be just to show you that we are what we are. So anyway, we're going to be reading from this book here, and I'm going to be reading on page. I'm going to start on page 57. So,
hey, brother, Tef Rem Qem Maat, it looks like your screen's like split in half. Okay, there we go.
There we go. Yeah. I was trying to make it big. Okay. Wait, let me see something, brother. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So this is 57, chapter 2 from that book, The Gods of the Egyptians by WALLICE E. Budge. And this is the conception of God and the gods. Some of this is, of course, Budge's opinion, but I'm just going to read it as it is. I may substitute some of the words that I'm not, that I don't like, but just follow along with me. So the conception of gods and the gods, chapter 2, page 57. The text in the pyramid of Unas and Ptah and their immediate successors prove that the religious literature of the Egyptians contain a multitude of beliefs and opinions which belong to all periods of their history and represent different stages in the development of their civilization. Their ideas about the various parts which constitute their material and mental and spiritual existence cannot have been conceived all at once, but it is very hard to say in respect to some of them which came first. We need not trouble about the order of the development of their ideas, about the constituent parts of the Neteru. For in the earliest times, at least the Cometians only ascribed to them the attributes which they had already ascribed to themselves. Once having believed that they possessed doubles, shadows, souls, spirits, hearts, i.e., the seats of the mental life, names, powers, and spiritual bodies, they assigned the like to the Neteru. But if the gods possessed doubles and shadows and hearts, none of which in the case of man can exist without bodies, they too must possess bodies. And thus the Cometians conceived the existence of gods who could eat and drink and love and hate and fight and make war and grow old and die and perish as far as their bodies were concerned. And although the text shows that in very early times they began to conceive monotheistic ideas and to develop beliefs of a highly spiritual character, the Cometians never succeeded in abandoning the crude opinion about the gods which their indigenous ancestors had formed long before the dynastic period of their history. It is, of course, impossible to assume that educated classes of Egypt held such opinions, notwithstanding the fact that religious texts, which were written for their benefit, contain as great a mixture of views and beliefs of all periods as those which were written for humbler folk. The Book of the Dead in all dynasties proves that the rich and the poor and the educated and the uneducated alike prayed for funeral offerings in the very chapels in which they proclaimed their sure belief in an existence in which material things were superfluities. In the text of the early empire, the deceased is declared to be a god, or God, and the son of God, or God, and the oldest god of all. Heru gives him his eyes, and he sits on a great throne by the side of God. Yet in the same text we read that he partakes of the figs and wine of the gods, that he drinks beer, which lasts forever, that he thirsts, not like the gods Shu and Tefnut, and that the throne of God is made of iron, that its legs terminate in hoofs like those of bulls, and that its sides are ornamented with the faces of lions. The great god Heru gives him his own double, Ka, and yet there are in heaven enemies who dare to oppose the deceased. And although he is declared to be immortal, all the gods give him of their food that he may not die. And he sits down, clothed in white linen, and wearing white sandals, with the gods by the lake in the fields of peace, and partakes with them of the wood or tree of life, on which they themselves live, that he also may live. Though he is the son of God, he is also the child of Satis, and the brother of the moon, and the goddess Isis becomes his wife. Though he is the son of God, we are also told that his flesh and his bones have been gathered together, that his material body has been reconstructed, that his limbs perform all the functions of a healthy body, and as he lives as the gods live, we see that from one point of view, he and the gods are constituted alike. Instances of the mixture of spiritual and material ideas might be multiplied almost indefinitely, and numbers of passages containing the most contradictory statements might be added almost indefinitely to prove that the ideas of the Egyptians about the world beyond the grave and about God and the gods were of a savage, childish, and inconsistent character. What, however, we have to remember in dealing with Egyptian religious texts is that the innate conservatism of the Egyptian in all ages never permitted him to relinquish any belief which had once found expression in writing, and that the written word was regarded by him as a sacred thing which, whether he believed it or not, must be copied and preserved with great care, and if possible, without any omission or addition whatsoever. Thus, religious ideas and beliefs which had been entirely forgotten by the people of Egypt generally were preserved and handed down for thousands of years by the scribes in the temples. The matter would have been simple enough if they had done this and nothing more. But unfortunately, they incorporated new text into the collections of old ones, and the various attempts which the priests and scribes made to harmonize them resulted in the confusion of beliefs which we now have in Egyptian religious works. Before we pass to the consideration of the meaning of the old Egyptian name for God, i.e. Neter, mention must be made of a class of beings which were supposed to possess bodies, partly animal and partly human, were of a composite character. Among the later class may be mentioned the creatures which has the body of a leopard and the head and neck of a serpent, and was called Setcha, and that which has the body of a lion, from which grow a pair of wings, and the head of an eagle, and is called Sefer, and that which has a body, the forepart being that of a lion, and the hind part that of a horse, and the head of a hawk, and an extended tail which terminates in a flower somewhat resembling the lotus. The name of this creature is Sa, and she is represented with a collar around her neck, and with bars and stripes on her body, which has 8 teats. Among creatures, part animal, part human, may be mentioned the leopard, with a human head and a pair of wings growing out of his back, and the human-headed lion or sphinx. The winged human head, which springs from the back of the leopard, strongly reminds one of the modern conventional representations of angels in religious pictures. But as the name of the fabulous creatures is unknown, it is impossible even to guess at the reasons for which he was furnished with a winged man's head. In connection with the composite animals enumerated above, must be mentioned the devourer of a MINTI, called Amit, the eater of the dead, whose forequarters were those of a crocodile, and hindquarters those of a hippopotamus, and whose body was that of a lion. The tombs at Beni Hassan, in which the figures of the Seta and Sefer and the Sak are depicted, date from the 12th dynasty, about 2500 BC, and there is no reason for supposing that their existence was not conceived of long before that time. Side by side with these is also depicted an animal called Shah, which has long square ears and an extended tail resembling an arrow, and in its general appearance it much resembles the animal of the god Set. Two explanations of the existence of such composite creatures may be given. They may be due either to the imagination of the Egyptians, which conceived of the existence of quadrupeds wherein were united the strength of one animal and the wisdom or cunning of another, e.g., the Seta, which united within itself the strength of a leopard with the cunning of the serpent, and the nameless leopard with a man's winged head, or to the ignorance of the ancients of natural history. The human head on an animal represented the intelligence of a man, and the wings the swift flight of the bird, and the body of the leopard the strength and the lithe motions of that animal. In conceiving the existence of such creatures, the imagination may have been assisted in its fabrication of fabulous monsters by legends or stories of pre-dynastic animals which were current in certain parts of Kemet during the dynastic period. Thus, as we have said before, the monster serpents of Egyptian, there's the word, mythology, have their prototypes in the huge serpents which lived in the country in primeval times, and there is no doubt that ATTON was originally nothing more than a huge serpent which lived in some mountain on the western bank of the Nile. On the other hand, it is possible that the Egyptians really believed in the existence of composite animals, and that they never understood the impossibility of the head and the neck of a serpent growing out of the body of a lion, or the head of a hawk out of the body of a lion, or a human head with the wings of a bird out of the body of a leopard. They were keen enough observers of the animals with which they came in contact daily, and their representations of them are wonderful for the accurate delineation of their forms and characteristics. Saba just said that today in the class, the part that I caught. But of animals which they had never seen and could only know from the reports of travelers and others, naturally they could not give accurate representations. Man in all ages seems prone to believe in the existence of composite animals and monsters, and the most cultured of the most ancient nations, e.g., the Cometians and the Babylonians, form no exception to the rule. The early cylinders of the Babylonians reveal their belief in the existence of many a fabulous and mythical animal, and the boundary stones or landmarks of a later period prove that composite animals were supposed to watch over the boundaries of kingdoms and estates, which they preserved from invasion, and the winged man-headed bulls, which the Assyrians set up in the gates and doorways of their palaces to protect the footsteps of the kings who made them, indicate clearly that they duly followed the examples of them by their kinsmen, the Babylonians. From the Assyrians, Ezekiel probably borrowed the idea which he developed in his description in the first chapter of his book of the four-faced and four-winged animals. Later, even the classical writers appeared to see no absurdity in solemnly describing animals, the existence of which was impossible, and in declaring that they possessed powers which were contrary to all experience and knowledge. Oropalo gravely states that the scarabus represents an only begotten, because the scarabus is a creature self-produced, being unconceived by a female. And in one form or another, this statement is given by Ilian, De Natura Animal, IV 49, Aristotle, History, IV 7, Properi D. Aspentine, Pliny, Natural History. Of the man-headed lion at Giza, i.e. the Sphinx, Pliny, Diodorus, Strabo, and other ancient writers have given long descriptions, and all of them seem to take for granted the existence of such a creature. The second explanation, which declares that composite animals are the result of the imagination of peoples who have no knowledge, or at all events a defective one, of the common facts of natural history, is not satisfactory, for the simple reason that composite animals, which are partly animal and partly human in their powers and characteristics, form the logical link between animals and man, and as such they belong to a certain period and stage of development in the history of every primitive people. If we think for a moment, we shall see that many of the gods of Egypt are closely connected with this stage of development, and that comparatively few of them were ever represented wholly in man's form. The Egyptians clung to their representations of gods and animal forms with great tenacity, and even in times when it is certain they cannot have believed in their existence, they continue to have them sculptured and painted upon the walls of their temples. Curiously enough, they do not seem to have been sensible of the ridicule which their conservatism brought down upon them from strangers. We have already said above that the common word given by the Egyptians to God and spirits of every kind and beings of all sorts and kinds and forms which were supposed to possess any superhuman or supernatural power was Neteru. And the hieroglyphic, which is used both as the determinative of this word and also as an ideograph, is the axe. Thus, we have the axe or the axe and the neter, the god, and or the strikes with the axe or the axe in 3 lines, or 3 axes and 3 lines, 3 determinatives, gods. The plural is sometimes written out in full, e.g. Neteru. The common word for goddess is Neteru, which can be written with the axe, the bread loaf, or these symbols here, the axe, the loaf, the ra, or these symbols here. Sometimes the determinative of the word is a woman, and at other times a serpent, e.g. an axe. The plural is netert, neteret. We have now to consider what object is supposed to be represented by the axe, and what the word neter means. I.e. Busen's Egypt's Palace, I number 556, 557, 623. The late Dr. Birch described the axe, this symbol, as a hatchet. In 1872, Dr. Burgess placed this symbol among objects, transcend arms, in his classified list of hieroglyphics, characters. Thus, it is clear that the 2 greatest masters of Egyptology considered this axe to be either a weapon or a cutting tool, and in fact assumed that the hieroglyphics represented an axed head let into and fastened in a long wooden handle. From the text wherein the hieroglyphics are colored, it is tolerably clear that the axe head was fastened to its handle by means of thongs of leather. The earliest axe heads were made of stone or flint or cert, and later of metal, and it is certain that when copper, bronze, and iron took the place of stone or flint, the method by which the head was fastened to the handle was considerably modified. Recently, an attempt has been made to show that the axe resembled in outline a roll of yellow cloth, the lower part bound or laced over, the upper part appearing as a flap at the top, probably for unwinding. It is possible, indeed, that the present object represents a fetish, e.g., a bone carefully wound round with cloth and not the cloth alone. But it need hardly be said that no evidence for the correctness of these views is forthcoming. Rather, the hieroglyphic symbol was copied from something which was a roll of cloth or a fetish matters little, for the only rational determination of the character is that which has already been made by Dr. Birch and Burgess, and the object which is represented by this symbol is, in writer's opinion, an axe and nothing else. Mr. Legge has collected a number of examples of the presence of the axe as an emblem of divinity on the megaliths of Brittany and in the prehistoric remains of the funeral caves of the Marni and of Scandinavia and of America. And what is very much to the point, he refers to an agate cylinder which was published by the late Adrien de Longpierre, wherein is a representation of a priest in the Chaldean garb offering sacrifices to an axe standing upright upon an altar. Mr. Legge points out that the axe appears on these monuments not as the representation of an object in daily use, but for religious or magical purposes, and goes on to say that this is proved by the fact that it is often found as a pendant and of such materials as gold, lead, and even amber. While that it is often represented with the peculiar fastenings of the earlier flint weapon, shows that its symbolic use goes back to the Neolithic and perhaps the Paleolithic age. He is undoubtedly correct in thinking that the use of the stone axe precedes that of the flint arrowhead or flint knife, and many facts could be adduced in support of this view. The stone tied to the end of a stick formed an effective club, which was probably the earliest weapon known to the pre-dynastic Egyptians. And subsequently, man found that this weapon could be made more effective still by making the stone flat and by rubbing down one end of it to form a cutting edge. The earliest axe head had a cutting edge at each end and was tied by leather thongs to the end of a stick by the middle, thus becoming a double axe. Examples of such a weapon appear to be given on the green slate object of the Archaic period, which is preserved in the British Museum number 2790 and 2792, where, however, the axe heads appear to be fixed in forked wooden handles. In its next form, the axe head has only one cutting edge, and the back of it is shaped for fastening to a handle by means of leather thongs. When we consider the importance that the axe, rather as a weapon or tool, was to primitive man, we need not wonder that it became to him first the symbol of physical force or strength, and then of divinity or dominion. Side note, Saba does a great class on the origins of the axe. Anyway, by means of the axe, the pre-dynastic Egyptians cut down trees and slaughtered animals. In other words, the weapon was mightier than the spirits or gods which dwelt in the trees and the animals, and as such became to them at a very early period an object of reverence and devotion. But besides this, the axe must have been used in sacrificial ceremonies, wherein it would necessarily acquire great importance and would easily pass into the symbol of the ceremonies themselves. The shape of the axe head, as given by the common hieroglyphics, suggests that the head was made of metal when the Egyptians first began to use the character as the symbol of divinity, and it is clear that this change in the material of which the axe head was made would make the weapon more effective than ever. Taken for granted then that the hieroglyphic symbol represents an axe, we may be sure that it was used as a symbol of power and divinity by the pre-dynastic Cometians long before the period when they were able to write. But we have no means of knowing what they called the character or the axe before that period. In dynastic times, they certainly called it Neteru, as we have seen, but another difficulty presents itself to us when we try to find a word that will express the meaning which they attach to the word. It is most important to obtain some idea of this meaning, for at the base of it lies, no doubt, the Egyptian conception of divinity or God. The word Neteru has been discussed by many Egyptologists, but their conclusions as to its signification are not identical. Imperet thought in 1879 that the true meaning of the word is renewal, because in the mythological conception, the god assures himself everlasting youth by the renewal of himself in engendering himself perpetually. In the same year, in one of the Hibbert lectures, Renouf declared that he was able to affirm with certainty that in this particular case, we can accurately determine the primitive notion attached to the word, i.e., to Neteru. According to him, none of the explanations thereto given to it can be considered satisfactory. But he thought that the explanation which he was about to propose would be generally accepted by scholars because it was arrived at as the result of a special study of all the published passages in which the word occurs. Closely allied to neuter, Neteru is another word, neuter, and the meaning of both was said by Renouf to be found in the Coptic, which, as we may see from the passages quoted by Aten in his lexicon, page 310, is rendered by the Greek word, I can't read that word, and the primary meaning of the word appears to be strong. And having assumed that Neteru was equivalent in meaning to the word, Renouf stated boldly that Neteru signified mighty, might, strong, and argued that it meant power, which is also the meaning of the Hebrew El. We may note in passing that the exact meaning of El, the Hebrew name for God, is unknown, and that the word itself is probably the name of an ancient Semitic deity. The passages which were quoted to prove that Neter meant strong, strength, power, and the like could, as M. Massapero had said, be explained differently. M. Massapero combats rightly the attempt to make strong the meaning of Neter or Netert in these words. In the expressions a town, Netert, Neteret, an arm, Neteri, is it certain that a strong city, a strong arm gives us the primitive sense of Neter. When among ourselves one says divine music, a piece of divine poetry, the divine taste of a peach, the divine beauty of a woman, the word divine is a hyperbole, but it would be a mistake to declare that it originally meant exquisite, because in the phrases which I have imagined, one could apply it as exquisite music. A piece of exquisite poetry, the exquisite taste of a peach, the exquisite beauty of a woman. Similarly, in Egyptian, a town, Neteret, is a divine town. An arm, Neteri, is a divine arm, and Neteri is employed metaphorically in Egyptian as is the word divine. In French, without its being any more necessary to attribute to the word Neteri the primitive meaning of strong than it is to attribute to the word divine the primitive meaning of exquisite. The meaning strong of Neteri, if it exists, is derived and not an original meaning. The view taken about the meaning of Neter by the late Dr. Bruska was entirely different, for he thought that the fundamental meaning of the word was the operative power which created and produced things by periodically recurrence and gave them new life and restored to them the freshness of youth. Die Thaddeus Craft Welch in Peridoxy Whiting Sing Die Escott. The first part of the work from which these words are quoted appeared in 1885, but that Dr. Burgess held much the same views 6 years later is evident from the following extract from his volume entitled Die Egyptology, which appeared in 1891, referring to Renoff's contention that Neter has a meaning equivalent to the Greek. He says, Es liegt auf der Hand, dass der Gottesnamens in Sinne von Stocker, Mastiger, Vessels, für sich hat Somer, Alas, Slabas, Lebos, Gegenstände, YZ, BN Bostin, adjective as Neturi, Stark, Mastiff, Knight, Selten, Bezenet, Worden, Aberso, Vessel Dies, Ursenrei, Fur, Sut, Zu Haben, Schnitt, So Wing, Stinnet, Sai Zu D, Dasten, Das In, Texten, Us der Besten Zeit. 18th Dynasty, das what Nestor in synonym für die Wallenstein, der Wallenstein oder Aphorit, es Diente Zam Ostenstruck, der Periostic, Widen, Renden, Juggen, Nast Altern, Untad so das Selbit dem Meschnen in Sargiften Zugern Fern Word, Ursi Fortin in Gatti, Weston Mitt, Juggins Steiner, Ish Lashi, S. Dashin, Gastanet Sin, Nak Welchen, Reichenstein, Hendai, Ukfusten, Streit, Zu, Gunston, Der, Innen, Order, Aderin, Ufsten Sung, Isteniden, Worden, Weird, Air, C. Nur, That Note, Das Want, Neter, Den, Egensten, Gotstenberg. In this passage, Dr. Burgess substantially agrees with Peret's views quoted above, but he appears to have withdrawn from the position which he took up in his Religion on Mythically, wherein he asserted that the essential meaning of neter was identical with that of the Greek and the Latin natura. It need hardly to be said that there are no good grounds for such an assertion, and it is difficult to see how the eminent Egyptologists could attempt to compare the conceptions of God formed by a half-civilized African people with those of such cultured nations as the Greeks and Romans. As a disrespect. The solution of the difficulty of finding a meaning for neter is not brought any nearer when we consider the views of such distinguished Egyptologists as E.D. Rogue, Lieben, and Maspero. The first of these, in commenting on the passage, which he translates, Du deviant dien engenderance lumemin, says in his excellent Churistan Mass Egyptology, one knows not exactly the meaning of the verb neuter, which forms the radical of the word neuter, God. It is an idea analogous to become or renew oneself, for Neteru is applied to the resuscitated soul, which clothes itself in its immortal form. Thus we find that one of the greatest Egyptologists thinks that the exact meaning of neter is unknown, but he suggests that it may have a signification not unlike that proposed by Peret. Professor Libyan goes a step further than Eden Rhodes, for he is of the opinion that it is impossible to show the first origin of the idea of God among any people hitherto known historically. When we, for instance, take the Indo-Europeans, what do we find there? The Sanskrit word deva is identical with the Latin deus, and the northern tivar, as now the word in Latin and northern languages signifies God. It must also in Sanskrit from the beginning have had the same signification. That is to say, the Aryans or Indo-Europeans must have combined the idea of God with this word as early as when they still lived together in their original home. Because if the word in their prehistoric home had another more primitive signification, the wonder would have happened that the word had accidentally gone through the same development or signification with all these people after their separation. As this is quite improbable, the word must have had a signification of God in the original Indo-European language. One could go even further and presume that in this language also it was a word derived from others and consequently originated from a still earlier prehistoric language. All things considered, it is possible, even probable, that the idea of God has developed itself in an earlier period of languages than the Indo-European. The future will perhaps be able to supply evidence for this. The science of languages has been able to partly reconstruct as Indo-European prehistoric language. It must be able also to reconstruct a prehistoric Semitic and a prehistoric Hamitic. And of these three prehistoric languages, whose original connection, it is not only guesses but even commences to prove gradually. It will, we trust in time, be able to extract a still earlier prehistoric language, which according to analogy might be called Neolithic, Noahitic. When we have come so far, we shall most likely in this prehistoric language also find words expressing the idea of God. But it is even possible that the idea of God has not come into existence in this prehistoric language either. It may be that the first dawning of the idea and the word God should be ascribed to still earlier languages, to layers of languages so deeply buried that it will be impossible even to excavate them. Between the time of inhabiting caves in the Quaternary period and the historical kingdoms, there is such a long space of time that it is difficult to entertain the idea that it was quite devoid of any conception of divinity. So that this should first have sprung up in the historical time. In any case, we shall not be able to prove historically where and when the question first arose. Who are the superhuman powers whose activities we see daily in nature and in human life? Although the Egyptians are the earliest civilized people known in history, and just therefore especially important for the science of religion, yet it is even there impossible to point out the origin of the conception of the deity. The oldest monuments of Egypt bring before us the gods of nature chiefly, and among these especially the sun. They mention, however, already early in the 4th and 5th dynasties, now and then the great power or the great god, it being uncertain whether this refers to the sun or another god of nature, or if it was a general appellation of the vague idea of a supernatural power, possibly inherited by the Cometians. It is probably this great god indicated on the monuments from the 5th dynasty, and later on, who has given occasion to the false belief that the oldest religion, 4th dynasty, to the oldest religion of the Egyptians was pure monotheism. But firstly, it must be observed that he is not mentioned alone, but alongside of the other gods. Secondly, that he is merely called the great god, being otherwise without distinguishing appellations, and a god of whom nothing else is mentioned, has, so to speak, to use Hegel's language, merely an abstract existence that by closer examination dissolves into nothing. It is necessary to quote Professor Liebland's opinion at length because he was one of the first to discuss the earliest idea of God in connection with its alleged similarity to that evolved by Aryan nations. If, however, he were to rewrite the passage given above in the light of modern research, he would, we think, modify many of his conclusions. For our present purpose, it is sufficient to note that he believes it is impossible to point out the origin of the conception of the deity among the Egyptians. The last opinion which we need quote is that of M. Maspero, who not only says boldly that if the word neter or netri really has the meaning of strong, it is a derived and not an original meaning, and and he prefers to declare that the word is so old that its earliest signification is unknown. In other words, it has the meaning of God, but it teaches us nothing as to the primitive value of the word. We must be careful, he says, not to let it suggest the modern religious or philosophical definitions of God which are current today. For an Egyptian God is a being who is born and dies like man and is finite, imperfect, and corporeal, and is endowed with passions and virtues and vices. This statement is, of course, true as regards the gods of the Egyptians at several periods of their history, but it must be distinctly understood, and it cannot be too plainly stated that side by side with such conceptions there existed, at least among the educated Egyptians, ideas of monotheism which are not far removed from those of modern nations. From what has been said above, we see that some scholars take the view that the word neter may mean renewal or strength or strong or to become, or some idea which suggests renewal, and that others think its original meaning is not only unknown, but that it is impossible to find it out. But although we may not be able to discover the exact meaning which the word had in pre-dynastic times, we may gain some idea of the meaning which was attached to it in the dynastic period by an examination of a few passages from the hymns and chapters which are found in various versions of the book, the Per Imheru. In the text of Pepi I, line 191, we have the words, "Behold thy son Heru, to whom thou hast given birth. He hath not placed this Pepi at the head of the dead, but he hath set him among the gods, Neteru." Now here, Neteru must be an adjective, and we are clearly intended to understand that the gods referred to are those which have the attribute of Neteru. Since the gods Neteru are mentioned in opposition to the dead, it seems as if we are to regard the gods as living, i.e., to possess the quality of life. In the text of the same king, line 419, a back neter, i.e., a hawk having the quality of a neter, is mentioned. And in the text of Unas, line 569, we read of Ba'u Neteru, or the two souls which possess the quality of neter. These examples belong to the 5th and 6th dynasties, passing to later dynasties, the 18th to the 50th, etc. We find the following examples of the use of the word neter and neteri. Boy, neteri, heir of eternity, begetting and giving birth to himself. I am devoted in my heart without feigning, O thou neteri, more than the gods. Hun neteri, ahek, utet, simes, su, teshef, ta'a, tu, em, aib, ati, bakau, netri, Neteru. Ptah, Rem Qem her, Mahu in Neterit, shall be said this chapter over a crown of Neterit. Neter cow, I have become Neter. Al u ka, cow im bak Netri, I have risen up in the form of a hawk. Eb cow, neter cow. Leku cow. I have become pure. I have become neter. I have become a spirit. Usur cow, ba cow. I have become strong. I have become a soul. Unin f neter, ma neteru im neter. Kurtet, his being neter with the neteru in the netekurt, or he shall be. Uf netra kat f temtu, he shall Netra, his body, all. Netri u bak ak im per sabut. They make Neter, thy soul, in the house of Sabut. Netri f bak ma Neteru. He makes Neter, thy soul, like the gods. Neter, Netri, Kepara, to Seth, Paut, God, Neteri, self-produced, primeval matter. Now, in the above examples, it is easy to see that although the words strong or strength, when applied to translate neter or neteri, give a tolerable, suitable sense in some of them, it is quite out of place in others. Example, in number 6, where the deceased is made to say that he has acquired the quality of neter and a spirit and a soul and is moreover strong, the word rendered strong in this passage is usur, and it expresses an entirely different idea from neter. From the fact that neter is mentioned in number 1 in connection with eternal existence, the self-begetting and self-production, and in number 11 with self-production and primeval matter, it is almost impossible not to think that the word has a meaning which is closely allied to the ideas of self-existence and the power to renew life indefinitely, and self-production. In other words, neter appears to mean a being who has the power to generate life and to maintain it when generated. It is useful to attempt to explain the word by Coptic etymologies, for it has passed over directly into the Coptic language under the forms NUTI and NUTI, the last consonant R having disappeared through phonetic decay, and the translators of the Holy Scriptures from that language use it to express the words God and Lord. Meanwhile, until new light is thrown upon the subject by the discovery of inscriptions older than any which we now have, we must be content to accept the approximate meaning of neter suggested above. The worship of the Neteru, which began far away back in pre-dynastic times, continued through the archaic and dynastic periods and lasted until the 4th and 5th century of our era. It is tolerably certain that in respect to some of them, their ideas of the Egyptians never changed, but as regard to others, their views did not remain as constant as some writers would have us imagine. In the earliest days, every village community in Egypt had its local god, who shared the good or evil fortune of the community to which he belonged. His emblem or symbol was carried out to war and was of course present at all great public gatherings when matters connected with the welfare of the devotees were discussed. A special habitation was set apart for him, and its upkeep was provided for out of common funds. As the riches of the people of the village increased, the rank and dignity of their god kept pace with them, but his revenue suffered in times of scarcity and defeat and war. His emblem might even be carried off into captivity and burnt or smashed, when of course the spirit which dwelt in his symbol was also destroyed. The number of such early gods was legion, for many large communities possessed several gods, each of which was famed locally for some particular attribute. When a man left one village and settled into another, he took his god or gods with him. But he would be obliged to acknowledge the god of the village or city in which he had made his new abode, and to contribute towards the maintenance of his house and its small compound. The reduction in the number of the gods of Egypt began when man first realized that certain gods were mightier than others, for he ceased gradually to worship those who had, in his opinion, failed to justify his belief in them, and transferred his allegiance to the gods who were able to give him the most help. In process of time, the god or goddesses of a certain village or town would obtain a fame and reputation for power which would outrival those of the deities of the neighboring cities, and the growth of the worship of such a god or goddess which would be accompanied by a corresponding decline in that of the gods in the towns roundabout. The gods, in the first instance, grew by a process of selection out of the spirits who were well disposed toward man and were helpful to him. And the great gods of the Egyptians were evolved practically in somewhat similar manner. It is at present hopeless to attempt to enumerate all the gods who were from first to last worshipped by the Cometians, for it will not be possible to do this until every text extant has been published. Meanwhile, an examination of the earliest Egyptian religious literature known to us proves that a number of gods who were of some importance in the polytheistic system of the early empire dropped out from it long before the period of the new empire, and thus it is very doubtful if we shall ever be able to collect the names of all the gods who have been worshipped in the valley of the Nile between the Archaic and Roman periods, while as to make a list of all the pre-dynastic gods is manifestly impossible. Future discoveries in Egypt may produce texts that will tell us which were their favorite gods in the Archaic period and give us some idea as to the pronunciation of their names, for we have reason to think that during the greater part of that period, the Egyptians were able to write. If ever such texts are brought to light, we shall probably find that the gods who were worshipped during the Archaic period were those who were popular in the pre-dynastic period, just as we find that the gods in the Egyptians of the Middle and New Empires were to all intents and purpose the same as those to the Egyptians of the early empires. Speaking generally, it may be said that the Egyptians of the greater part of the dynastic period of their history invented few new gods, and that they were well content to worship such deities as were known to their ancestors. We know that they admitted at times foreign gods into their assembly of the old Egyptian gods, but the religious text proves that they were never allowed to usurp the functions of the indigenous gods. Political and other reasons might secure for them a certain amount of recognition in the country generally, and the people of the cities where their emblems and statues found resting places treated them with the easy toleration which is so marked a characteristic of many countries in the East. But as soon as such reasons disappeared, the foreign gods were quietly ignored, and in short time their worship was forgotten. The statement is not intended to apply to the gods who were introduced from one city or district of Egypt into another, for we know that the Egyptian priesthood and people of a given city were ready to show hospitality to almost any god of any town or city or district, provided that he belonged to the same company as that of which the chief local god was a member. We have unfortunately not long connected religious texts in the forms in which they must have existed under the first 4 dynasties, and we cannot therefore say that gods were worshipped during that period. There is, as has been shown somewhere, good reason for believing that some parts of the Per-Imheru were revised or edited during the early part of the period of the first dynasty. And if this be so, we may assume that the religious system of the Egyptians, as revealed in the text of a much later time, closely resembled that which was in existence in the later part of the Archaic period, i.e. during the first 3 dynasties, under the 5th and 6th dynasties. We touched firmer ground, and we find abundant, though not complete, materials for the study of the gods of Egypt and their attributes in the lengthy hieroglyphic texts, which were inscribed inside the pyramid tomb of Unas, Ptah, Pepi I, Mer-Im Ra Maheti Im Saf, and Pepi II. An examination of these texts reveals the existence of an established theological system in Egypt, and we find that even at that time, the literature in which it was more or less expounded contained innumerable layers of religious thought and expressions of belief which belong to periods, many of which must have been separated by long intervals of time. The gods are mentioned in such a way as to prove that the writers of the text, or at least the copyists, assumed that the reader would be well acquainted with the subject matter of the compositions, and from first to last neither explanation nor gloss is to be found in them. The texts are, of course, secular, and the greatest number of the gods mentioned in them are referred to in their characters as gods who deal with the souls of the dead in the world beyond the grave. The sun god Ra and the gods of his cycle, and Osiris, the god and judge of the dead, and the gods of his cycle have definite positions and duties assigned to them, and it is very clear that both the texts which describe these and the ceremonies which were performed in connection with the words recited by the priests were, even under the 5th dynasty, extremely ancient. Moreover, it is certain that the religious texts in use for funeral purposes under that dynasty are substantially those which were compiled several centuries before. We may note in passing that the funeral books were edited by the priests of Anu, Heliopolis, and as a result they exhibit traces and influence of the theological opinions of the great priestly college of that city. But at bottom, the views and beliefs which may be deduced from them, and that the fundamental conceptions to which they give expression are the products of the minds of the pre-dynastic indigenous Egyptians. To the consideration of the Heliopian religious system we shall return later, and we may therefore pass on to the enumeration of the principal gods who are made known to us by the pyramid text at Saqqara. Among the great gods who were certainly worshipped in the early archaic period may be mentioned Ptah in Teta line 80, Nu in Unas line 199, Net or Neith in Unas line 67, Ra Pasium, Heru Hathor, Heru or Horus, Menenra 454, Khepera Unas 444, Khepera Pepi II 856, Khenemu Unas 556, and Sebek Unas line 565. Of these gods, Heru or Horus was the hawk god, and the spirit and personification of the height of heaven. Khepera was the beetle god, Khenemu the ram god, and Sebek the crocodile god. Net or Neith was originally a wood spirit. Ra and Ptah were two forms of the sun god, and Nu was the watery mass of heaven in which he lived. With Ra and Khepera, the priests of Heliopolis associated the forms of the sun god, which was especially worshipped in their city, and thus we have mentioned the compound gods Ra-Tem, Unas 216-224, Mer and Ra 458, and Tem Khepera. In the text of Unas, line 626, Sebek is styled as son of Net, and he is also called Lord of Baru, line 565. But if the 18th dynasty text be correct, the name of this place is misspelt, and in any case, it must be identical with the Bakal, or mountain of the sunrise, in the Book of the Dead. The following is a list of the other principal gods mentioned in the pyramid text. So this is a list of all the gods and all the Neteru, or some of the Neteru, and I'm going to read their names just so we can become familiar with this. And end this off and piggyback off my good brother's family reunion and introduce everyone to these Neteru. So to their names. Ahu from Pepi the First, line 850. Akar, Unas, 498, 614 in Teta 309. Api in the Pyramid of Unas, line 487. Apuat, Unas, 187. Amen, Unas, 557. Amint, Unas, 557. Amhint, F, Pepi, 666. Sepa, Pepi, 666. Su or Min, Unas, 377. Set, Teta, 60, line 197. Ana, Unas, 272, 275. Anpu, Unas, 71, 207, 219. Anmut, Pepi the second, 772. And Tachar F, Pepi, 651. Aket Ninta, Teta, line 307. Asar, Aset, Unas, 181. Askin, Pepi the second, 1324. Etir Asfet, Pepi the second, line 980. Unk, Pepi the first, line 672. I in her Pes, Unas, line 392. Ahu, Teta, line 333. Yershep Sef, Pepi the first, 671. Unas, line 272. Hekau, Unas, line 269. Usert, Unas, line 229. Udes, Pepi the second, line 976. Ba, Imra, line 784. Babat, Unas, 532. Babi, Unas, 644, 647. Babu, Pepi the first, 568. Babao, Pepi the first, 604. Bastet, Pepi the first, 569. Ba Ashim F, Merton Ra, 784. Moot, Unas, 181. Mint, Pepi the second, 849. Mintef, Pepi the second, 1228. Mint, Merton Ra, 784. Mint Unas, 427, 623. Met Unas, 427, 623. M. Kent Maati, Pepi the first, 645. M. Kenti Maati, Pepi the first, 645. Meska Unas, 567. Mescat Pepi the first, 671. Metchetat Pepi the second, 956. Now Unas, 557. Nupt Unas, 479. Nebhet Unas, 220. Nefertin Unas, 395. Enan Unas, 557. Enat Unas, line 240. Nekben Unas, 459. Netbao Unas, 559. Nehegbet Merton Ra, 762. Nahet Unas, 601. Nesert Unas, 269. Neti Unas, 279. Netet Tahab Unas, 598. Renunet Unas, 441. Raruta Pepi the first, 976, 979. Epath Pepi the first, line 636. And Ima Pepi the first, 636. Heta Uchet Pepi the first, 173. Heten Unet Teti 332. Hu Unas 439. Hep Unas 187. Hep Unas 431. Hep Teta 60 197. Hem Pepi 641. Himen Pepi the second 850. Hin Pasheti Teta 309. Hent Unas 417. Hunt Teta 357. Heru Teta 365. Heru Am Henu Unas 211. Heru Kent Peru Unas 202. Heru Kesbeti Maati Unas 369. Heru Tehuti Unas 471. Heru Sep Unas 465. Heru Tesher Maati Unas 369. Heru Tat Unas 218. Heru Kart Teta 301. Hara F Ha F Pepi the first. Her Happies Unas 226. Hasat Pepi the second 976. Hesmanu Matin Ra 670. Het Hurt Unas 575. Heka Pepi 583. Heket Pepi 570. Kati Unas 536. Quebec Unas 434. Kent Amenti Unas 201. Kent Maati Unas 218. Kinamu Unas 556 Pepi the first 455. Kinsu Unas 510. Kinsu Sep Unas 588. Sa Unas 439. Satet Pepi the first 297. Seb Unas 234. Sepu Pepi the second 976. Sep Unas 219. Small Unas 280. Cementet Teta 355. Sant Pepi the second 854. Sir F Teta 309. Sir Ket Pepi the first 647. Sir Ket Hetu Teta 207. Shapu Pepi the first 685. Secum Hef Pepi the second 978. Secum Ta in Unas 281. Saket Unas 390. Sha Pepi the second 975. Seker Pepi the first 641. Sekin Pepi the first 650. Set Unas line 6. Set Esta Pepi the first 265. Set Da Pepi the first 259. Shu Unas 184. 185. Shemus Unas 511. Shesket Intet Unas 390. Kanor Pepi the second 979. Kasut Pepi the second 975. Kebsnuf Teti 60. Ta'it Teta 376. Teba Unas 428. Tefin Unas 453. Tefnut Unas 453. Tim Unas 207. Tim Kepara Pepi the second 662. Teta Unas 67. Ta'um Mutef Teta line 60. Tenau Pepi the first. Tetin Unas 280. Tehuti Unas 228. Chetin Int Martin Ra 773. Tachiru Teta 198. Tachet in Ter Pepi the first 301. I'm gonna end it. Well, no, let me finish right here. Besides the above, the Neteru are mentioned the angel or messenger of the two gods. Unas 408, and the Ashim that dwelleth within Eru, Ptah 351. Allusions are made to the following important stars: Neket, Ptah 218, Septet, Ptah 349, Shah, Ptah 349, Shahut, Pepi II 857. Septet, i.e. the dog star, Sa, i.e. Orion. The pyramid text shows that in addition to the gods already enumerated, there existed certain classes of beings to whom were attributed the nature of the gods, e.g. the Afu, Pepi II 951, the Atenu, Pepi II 951, the Ursha Hu of P, Pepi II 849, the Urshu of Nekim, Pepi II 849, the Hennement Unas 211, the Set being superior and inferior, Pepi II 951, the Shimsu Heru, Pepi I 166. And I'm going to end it right there. And I just want to, I'm going to end my presentation right there as a follow-up to my good brother, Menkhu, his family reunion. And I just named off well over 30 of the Neteru. And here at the house of Aten, this is the ancient Tehutian teachings of the Neteru. And the saying on our shirts say, the Neteru exists. And I want to give a hinu to all of these Neteru, to all of the Neters that I named. And I hope I've done their name justice, speaking this English language that I've been forced to speak to. And I just want to end it here and introduce everyone to these Neteru. And I'm going to end it like this: the Neter are real. To our HOTEP Maat, peace and love. HOTEP, peace, brother. Did I lose the stream? Am I here?
HOTEP.
Okay. HOTEP, peace and love. The Neteru exists, my brother. Hinu to all the Neteru that I named. Peace and love, HOTEP.
Yeah, that was powerful. That was a lot to unpack. That's a lot to process. Interesting. It's just interesting of how information was collected, how people's interpretation of our culture. It's a lot to consider, but I really enjoyed some of the information. I liked how Budge talked about the composite God, and more and more through our master teacher Saba Tehuti talks about his relationship with animals and our ancestors' relationship with animals. I thought that was really powerful, and there's more evidence, right, in that reading. And then I really loved in one section how they described Ra is the god of nature. It's like really simple but really profound, and that I kind of touched on that in my the reunion, the family reunion teaching as well, about how significant Ra is to everything. But when we think about Ra as the nature of God, that's just another, it's like another powerful description and aspect of how beautiful and how amazing Ra is. And for those who have not seen the Neteru, the last Neteru class, Saba Tehuti's Neteru class was in alignment with the presentation and the teaching that I did. And so it's just more and more evidence, right? That's what I love about our history and our ancestors and the Neteru is like evidence-based. It's just so much evidence. There's so much proof, so much truth, more truth than any other so-called religion or spirituality. So there's just no comparison. And so this reading was really eye-opening, and it's good to know that there's so much more to learn, and it's actually encouraging instead of overwhelming, because the more we know, I feel like the more whole and complete I am becoming, the more that I am learning more and more about this information. Also, this information also bring forth more questions, and that's a really good thing, to be curious about this history and like how it lands, and it makes you want to know. It's making me want to know more. And one of the questions that I have now is it's not anything profound or anything, and I'm sure this information is out there, but I'm going to do some research in why was the pyramid text specifically documented in Saqqara. That's something that I'm going to dig and search and want to learn more, because so many temples, so many Akus, so many Mers, so much history. Why was that, one of the places of the pyramid text? So, to you, great brother, for choosing that to read and sharing that and sharing with us more information about Neterus, the Neters. This is it's very healing. It's a very unique frequency that we're in when we are learning this history. It's very special. It's very sacred. It's life-giving. And you can I can feel the love and information and the connection to the information. And so, shout out to you, great brother, for that reading.
To our brother, it was you that inspired me to read that, because I just wanted to. So I learned from our great teacher that when you speak the Neter's name, that they live. So I wanted to Hinu these great Neters and say their names, because I've never said most of those names. I've never seen them. I've never heard of them. Of course, Seket, Bastet, some of them, Neef, some of the words, some of the Neters I was familiar with. But I just want to give them reverence, because the Neteru live. And there's so many that I'm unfamiliar with. And when you did your presentation last week about the family reunion, it did make me think more about the particular Neters that are guiding us, just us in particular, me and us and you, and so I wanted to give them adoration, and I'll just open the book and just flip through a page, and whatever it lands on, I'll look at it and see what it relates to and how it relates. And when I saw this list of all of these Neters that I was unfamiliar with, it motivated me to want to say their names. I wanted to say their names loud. I wanted to say their names in digital stone. So they're on, it shows where their names is written at, but I wanted to give them adoration like you did, like we do over here at the house of Aten. So that was my motivation, good brother. But I'm going to be reading more of what our ancestors said, them themselves, because Budge was a little disrespectful in a lot of it. It was a little tough to read some of this stuff, knowing that I have a great teacher. But the main point, my whole point in reading this was to read those Neter's names at the end and to give them adoration and to Hinu to all of them. I know I didn't pronounce a lot of the names correctly because I speak English, but the Neteru are real, and I just wanted to give them adoration. So that was the main point of that, and to connect the dots with you with the family reunion, because we are the Neteru and we just have to, you know, live up to that and be that. So Hinu to the Neteru, all the names that I've read, all the Neters, and Hinu to you, great brother, for those beautiful words. Peace and love.
To a Nini Uk, great brother. Yeah, that's we have so much history to recover, and we have so much to learn, and so it's a new energy, it's a new language, we're in a new life, and so this is very necessary. It's very necessary that we explore this information. So Hinu to you.
Peace, Hotep, Nini Uk. I know Batman and Bruce Banner, but I don't know Amsu and the Pyramid of Unas, line 377. That's a problem. But I know Bruce Banner, I know Gotham City. So that's my motivation, brother.
Yeah, beautiful.
Hotep, great brothers. To Tef, Rem Qem Maat, for reading that. There was a lot of information in that section there, and I hope that, you know, with you bringing this forward, everyone who's here, you know, takes the time to dig into a little bit of what was said there, because there was a lot there, and you know, and with the Neteru, of course, what we have Saba Tehuti, and the one who brought forth the consciousness of showing that the Neteru exists. Again, because you know, this is kind of, you know, and that's the great thing about, you know, why he went on the Sonetter show today, and with that being the topic, and then with this this reading here being about the Neteru. So all of this is happening in a very specific way, and it's very beautiful to be a part of. And there's so many Neteru. It really humbles you, because, you know, when you're on this journey and you realize how much consciousness exists around you, and that is walking with you, and how we were able to connect to the Neteru, and how we were also representations of that, it really deepens the understanding of what the Neter really means, because we are the Neter. You know, the ancient ones were called the Neteru as well, and because how religion exists today, and it was a good dialogue that Saba Tehuti had today in showing how deep the matrix is embedded, right? So when you show how myth just means words spoken, right? But because we, every single day, every single waking moment, we're programming ourselves or being programmed by something. When you start to speak something enough, you start to believe that what you're saying is true. And so when you're shown that myth just means words that are spoken, and it goes back to the met, which means words, that creates the medu, which also creates met or ma'at, which is the truth, the true words. It's very it allows you to expand your consciousness into what's actual reality, right? And so to dig into this and to understand that the Neteru are, yes, aspects and principles of our existence, of creation, that we also take on, right? And it's just a very powerful thing to know and be a part of. And there were some scholars who knew that and understood that it doesn't matter what people think today about the Neteru. The ones who brought forth the consciousness of the Neteru for thousands of years spoke and taught and lived that they were real beings, that everything was passed down from them. The ones who created everything that everyone likes to give adoration and praise to, about certain aspects of what the Cometians did and all of what they invented, all of what they created. But when they were creating that, they were giving adoration to the Neteru as physical beings as well. Because even this stele here, all the way up at the sun, there's two shins on the right side of the sun. And we should all know here what a shin is and what it represents, an actual physical king that existed and walked physically, you know, just like how we see the shins up here for Akhenaten and Nefertiti. But right next to the sun is the shins of Ra. So they absolutely taught and lived that the Neteru were physical beings that walked on the planet. And we see that all throughout the writings. And we just got through the maxims of Ptah HOTEP in Wisdom Wednesday classes. And Ptah HOTEP speaks about how these writings, how these teachings are passed down from the first ancestors, being the Neteru, and to keep them exact and the same from them. And how in the first chapter of the Per and Peru, it's literally saying you're reciting what Tehuti said to recite. That's literally what it says. This is what Tehuti says, and now you're going into and you're reciting what Tehuti said. So it's so very powerful, and why I'm so grateful to be amongst brothers like you who are also in this consciousness of excellence and understanding that this reality that we exist in is all illusion. It's as you like to say, great brother ATEF, Rem Qem, Maat, it's all a lie. And when people really start to understand that, that's when we start to gain back our power of what's okay. If that's a lie, then what is real, right? So if there are consciousness of beings who created a nation such as Kemet and was able to keep it consistent for thousands of years, and that's just, you know, if you want to say 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 conservatively, you want to go back into the Nakata period. They say the first dynasty was 3100 BCE, but they were even from there, from 3100 BCE to 333, just pure consistency. And they give all the credit to the Neteru. And so there's no question that they knew that the Neteru were physical beings and that we are the ancestors. We are the descendants of the Neteru. To our great brother for reading that and bringing forth the consciousness of some of the Neteru that are not so popular. And which is, you know, it's so very important too, because when you go into these readings and you go into the writings that they wrote, you see all of these names, and you see that the names are actually words too. So the words that were given to the Neteru are actual words that mean something as well. And that's something that was lost in today's consciousness, because names today have nothing to do with a word that means something. So everyone's names today are just random names because we like the sound of it, or because whoever named you liked that sound, or named you because it related to somebody that they respected or appreciated. It has nothing to do with, okay, well, what does that name mean? No one knows that today. And that's not how we moved in the ancient times, because we understood that the name was a ren. And what does the ren mean? Right? So we understood how it's the sound vibration. you know, that makes up this physical reality. So if you carry a sound vibration that you don't even know what the meaning of that vibration is, you're carrying that. You're a walking embodiment of that and don't even know it. So so for us here to achieve and earn the names that we've earned, given to us by the great Saba Tehuti, Amenhotep Ra, is such a privilege, far beyond that any, you know, only self can understand how important that is. Because the deeper you go into the teachings, the more powerful you understand that they are. And to truly live out and to be echoes of the ancient ones who were the highest of excellence, and who didn't have that negative self inflated ego that keeps people from humbling down and understanding that, you know, yes, we are great, and we are actually that thing too, but there's so much that's going on. But I'm just thankful and very grateful to the ancestors, to Maat, which means to guide, and Maat, and another great point that Saba Tehuti brought up, and how Maat is the embodiment of a female, and how that is what the teachings are based on. And a lot of the Neteru that you see are actually, they have many of those names. So it's not even that every name that was just read are different Neteru. It could just, because the words, those words mean something, it could just be another aspect of the same Neteru. So just like Asar, right? And then we have Min, and then Amsu. Amsu is also Asar as well, because it's the words that mean something, which is why, as we just went over in the Medu class, and someone put in the chat earlier how Shu is Aten, and and coming into that knowledge just truly expands the consciousness of what words are, and what names are, and how you actually embody these things. So to our great brother, for bringing that forth and reading out the sound vibrational tones, because it absolutely keeps them alive. And that's what they taught. They taught that, you know, and they spoke about that heavily, you know, to recite and to speak the name to keep me alive. And it's just a beautiful thing. So Hindu great brother, Tua, and, you know, hope you all, you know, support this class and support this great brother who brings forth this information and does these beautiful readings for everyone, to again plant seeds in the subconscious to allow us to dig deeper and to find out more than what we knew today. So peace and love, Hotep, great brother.
Yini Uk, my brother. Yini Uk, those was great words. And yes, I'm definitely looking forward to your presentation next week. I know there's always a synchronicity. I actually didn't get a chance to fully catch the whole Sonetta program. I was in and out. I did post a couple of the links when I did pop in. I was catching a little bit. But yeah, that's my goal, brother, is just to keep the Neteru's name alive, to stay in favor of the Neter. You know, we do these things to, you know, like Saba say, we support Doritos and we support everything that's not beneficial for us. You know, I'm very familiar with Bruce Banner and Gotham City and, you know, all of these different things, but my own culture is foreign to me. It seems foreign, and that's a problem. So yeah, that's my whole goal, is to keep the Neter alive, is to stay in favor with them, get in favor, get in formation, and to myself, rise like the Aku and elevate, you know, and in turn, stand alongside you brothers and elevate with you. So that was the whole purpose of my reading, like I said, just to say some utter some tones, of the Neters that I haven't uttered, that most people haven't heard, because a lot of those I'm totally unfamiliar with. But if this was a Spider-Man study guide, I could tell you how he turned into Spider-Man. He got bit by a spider, you know. So again, it's just unlearning and relearning, my brother. And I'm honored to be where I'm at. I'm honored to be where I'm at, and I'm grateful for the Neteru. Like I said, I had so many different things going on, and I have to show my adoration. So this reading, it means more after I read it after yesterday, as something very very strange happened yesterday that is very strange, and I'm just grateful to be here because I don't have to be here. So Saba did a class on infinite things happening, like on the amount of different things that can happen. So I'm convinced that if I was not on this frequency and Maat was not my foundation, yesterday would have been the last day that you brothers would have saw me here, you know. So I'm this class, and uttering those Neters, those names, and honoring them, giving them their Hindu, it means so much. It's an honor. Yeah, so I want to end it with that, because it's not really much more to say other than that, is that I'm honored to learn and to grow, and to purify my heart and renew myself every day. So like I said, keep the foundation as Maat, and everything will happen the way it's supposed to happen. So, you know,
I want to add on to everything you brothers are saying, because this is an inheritance, right? And a lot of people, melanated people, don't inherit much, you know, from their families because of the oppression and different atrocities and, you know, slavery and things like that. You know, not all of us, but some of our families didn't leave much behind for us. But when we come into this consciousness, we come into this energy, we are inheriting so much. And I love what Aten Tehuti said about some of the names. You know, the names are tied to identity. And I love what Saba said, that language is translatable, but some of this terminology from the conquistadors is just isfet. And so he says he doesn't, when he was answering one of the questions, he was showing, you know, how serious he is about language and culture and knowledge and understanding and wisdom. And he'll cut straight to, you know, what's real and what's not real. And that's what's so powerful about our master teacher. He was like, some of this terminology is designed to, like, it's like tricknology, it's isfet. And so some of the names that we hear, and some of the names that people have, it's
that is all distraction. Well, you don't
distraction. Yeah.
Some of these names, some of this stuff is just outlandish. So Hinu to you, Aten Tehuti, for reminding us, you know, and always going into the language and the breakdown of the language and keeping us on course, and, you know, inserting that clarity. That clarity is so important for us. And so I just wanted to add on to both of your builds, because it's very important information that's very significant on this journey that we're on.
Yes, Dinika. I post a link in the chat for everyone if anyone wants to come up and let your tones be heard, of course. But yes, great brothers, fantastic point. And you know, it's something that I realize how much I love the Neteru and Maat every day. When I go to sit down and go into meditation or go into a ritual or go into studies, and because there's so much information, and that's what advances my adoration for Saba Tehuti as well. The more I go into it, because of how much there is, and how much time and attention has to go into this to be able to do what he does. That's why no one does what he does, and no one can do what he does, because there's difference between doing it as a hobby and doing it because it's your actual life, and learning to incorporate every aspect of what makes this up into a life, into a lifestyle. And it's just a complete switch of consciousness, and understanding how the words that we speak, the languages, wow, it's deep. It is so deep, it's so very deep. And I love to watch Saba interact with people, because it really shows how deep it really is, and how deep it's embedded in what we think we know, or how we attribute a reality to something that doesn't exist. And it's just a very powerful thing. So to remove self from all of this aesthetic matrix that exists all around us at all times is imperative. It's absolutely imperative, because there's no way to exist in both worlds. Truly, it's just not. And it's something that I come to learn. Put in the time that I've put into research, and prior to Saba Tehuti coming forward and going to the KP Podcraft, and and teaching, and the research that I had come across and was going down, and it really is mind blowing, because he spoke about it for a little bit too in this class when he brought up the Emerald Tablets, and that's always the first thing people come into, the Emerald Tablets, the Kabbalion, the 7 Hermetic Principles, and it's great information when you never come across that information. It works to get you to the next level. But it's just like everything else. You have to be able to, you have to be willing to go to the next level. To do that, you have to put certain parts in its perspective, and it's reinventing yourself consistently, because yes, it works and it helps you in certain aspects. This is why I never shun people for what they do, as long as it's helping them to ascend. But a lot of times that thing that helps you keeps you from going to the next level, because you don't want to put that down. And that's where a lot of times our people get lost, and because they associate that love to that belief system that they have, because those are the same words. But through my journey up, coming across all that information, and Thoth, before Tehuti, because that's what you come across, Thoth or Hermes Trismegistus. And then you kind of just take everything for face value, and then you do your research from there. And I didn't really truly understand how much everything, people just make things up and attribute. And I've noticed this in scholarship to PhD scholars. I've noticed this is something they'll do. They'll speak about all these different things, and yeah, that exists there, that exists over there, that exists over there. Everybody was just doing it. But it's like, well, let's look at a timeline. Sure, everybody's just doing it, but there's always got to be a first somewhere. And then that creates the influence for everyone else to do it. So that's one thing that I noticed, even in educational high scholarship, these scholars talking about, and they do it with too. The only source of any showing that any Hebrews translated anything from the Hebrew to the Greek in the Bible is the letter of Aristees. That's the only piece that exists, and that piece is not real. It's full of inconsistencies and not accurate history in that one piece of letter. But you'll still hear these scholars speak about how the Greek was translated from the Hebrew, but there's no proof of that aside from that letter, and that letter is not real. And I started to recognize and see these things. I'm like, well, if these PhD scholars are just taking things at face value and not looking for the proof, because in the land of scholarship, there's a standard that everyone kind of just goes by, and it doesn't matter if it's if someone can prove that that's not true. If everyone in that circle says that no, this is what's said and this is what we believe, and most scholar believes this, then that's what they go with. And I started to recognize that and realize that. And so even in these different schools, these colleges, given these high level degrees, quote unquote, it's just a system. And it's not like, to me, it doesn't put you in any more higher regards, except for just your discipline to go through the school of thought to finish at something. And that can be attributed to anything. And that's why I never look at people in that type of way. I look at people energetically first, and then whatever happens after that, is what happens. But it's just a very odd thing when you start to come out the matrix and you look and see what the matrix is built on top of, and where people give credit to other people, and where people are what they call authorities of the subject. And it's just it's weird, it's very odd, looking at it and seeing it. And that's why Salva Tehuti doesn't get what he deserves to get, because of what the matrix teaches people of what should be respected. And that's one thing I love that we're doing, is recreating that and re-establishing the hierarchy in its proper form, prior to the Greeks coming and trying to tell people what is the hierarchy. Hinu to you, great brothers, for being here, and the consistency, and everyone in the chat room who's here with us live, and who shows up every single week, and who supports every single week to create that ritual to help us put ourselves back in a position that we're supposed to be in. And if everyone continues just to play their part, we will get there. Absolutely. And I know that each and every one of us will make sure that happens, and it actually has no choice but to happen, because that's just the way it works, And I love how you pointed out, Menkhu Ara, yesterday about Salva Tehuti, and when you're at that level, what you can really do, and to not choose that to take advantage of people. And that's so very important, that people have a hard time understanding. When you know certain things, you absolutely, and people do it all the time. You can look at many pastors, and you can see people implementing magic, and on many different levels, to take advantage of people, and it's just a real thing. So when you see someone who is pure-hearted and who brings forth such powerful information, under that, it's and to see it disrespected, it's difficult. But this matrix is so very real, and people are really just projecting that which exists in them onto other people, And that's why when they see him with these serpents, they have to make up so many different things for it not to be exactly what it is. No, and guess what? When you're looking at him, when you're looking at us, you're seeing exactly what it is. You don't have to make up and this has to be because you. No. It's very deep. So the more pure you are and the more cleansing that you do, the more clear your vision becomes. If you're inflated with toxins, of course, what you see is going to be more of that, you know. So when you cleanse yourself, you're able to see more of what's pure. Your discernment level, it goes off the charts. You're able to see because you're not just seeing through what you physically see, you're seeing through all of your senses, and all of your senses don't lie to you. And this is what's necessary for when we go to the Neteru, or when you even hear you go into the what's called the real time zone, or you astral project, and you come across different beings who shield themselves into shapeshift themselves into different type of creatures or people that you may know or someone that you may love. But that being is not truly who you think that being is, because in that realm you can shift. I've personally done this. I've personally been conscious outside of the body and turned my head into different creatures, turned my hands into bear claws. I've personally done this myself, me, and many times consistently. So if I can do it, I know that there's other beings that can do that and other people that can do that as well. And the only way to be able to discern the difference is to be able to see through the uwachi, to be able to see through all of your senses and to discern whether what you're seeing with your eyes is an illusion or not. And 9 times out of 10, it's an illusion. And this is why the Cometians were so advanced far beyond anyone, and no one can conceptualize and understand how the Neteru are physical beings, because they can't do it themselves. So how can someone else do something and they can't do it? You know, so it's very deep. So this reading and bringing forth these different frequencies of the Neteru is so very important for our subconscious, because when we know that they were physical beings and what they were able to do and who they are and how their identity has to be held and hidden and switched, because if you wake up and realize that you can do that, it's over. It's over for the power structure and the hierarchical structure that's in place. So I know I kind of just went on there, but I love the Neteru. I love Maat, and it's so very powerful. And Hinu to you, great brothers, for your energy.
That was a beautiful build. I just want to say one thing too. You would think that us reading is a very, like, it seems like, oh, they're reading a book, but no, it's actually echoing the energy of the Neteru, right? And it's sharing this energy and this history, and a lot of people don't read anymore. So now reading and these books are even more sacred, because people have been separated from this kind of information for so long. And yeah, when they see Saba with a serpent, they don't know how to process it, because they don't understand our relationship with nature and animals, and how Saba consistently was like, we are not superior to these animals. These animals have superpowers. They're supernatural. There's things about these animals that humans absolutely cannot do. So this energy, all of that, what you shared, and all of that, what we're learning, is more powerful than people actually realize. Welcome, Minty.
Thanks.
Peace, Hotep, everyone. Hotep Maat.
Hotep.
Yeah, this is Hotep. This is beautiful. I love what's happening here. I didn't get to watch the broadcast with Saba earlier all the way through. I came in in and out, and I didn't get to catch what you brothers built on today, but I just wanted to check in with you all and say Hotep and Henu, because even though I didn't watch it, I can feel it. I just got home from the museum. I had a family trip back to the Getty. I took my son to see the papyrus and the Purim Haru display that they had there. So I spent my day imbued in the energy of the ancestors while all of this was going on. So I think it's really beautiful that I came home and we're still talking about the Neteru.
Yes.
Woke up. I like it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. I mean, like Saba said, when the computer shuts down, it doesn't stop. It just keeps on going, and that's who we are, and that's what we're imbuing ourselves in, and that's our true energy and our true nature. We are the Neteru, and I'm just so honored. And I'm so thankful, and I'm so blessed to be guided down this path. So, hand it to you, brothers. And yeah, we're here, and we're the best.
I love that.
To our great sister, yeah, I love it. Yeah, that's I totally agree with you, and that's why I wanted to do that, because I wanted to utter their tones, because for sure, with certainty, I have said the word Superman more times in my life than I've said uttered the tone Bastet. For sure.
Absolutely.
And it's
I can tell you anything about comic books. I can tell you anything about these characters that the Neteru are made after. And it's really exciting to know that the Neteru are real, and that this is what I've been learning the whole time. But it's just a slight shift. You have to shift your consciousness to be like, okay, it's not Spider-Man that wears the tights and the blue and the red with the spiders on it. It's actually one of our ancestors. I haven't put together who exactly the spider would be, but Serket with the scorpion. That's a real ancestor.
I just told my my hemp the other day. I said, I love you too much to not tell you the truth. It's like this truth that we're learning, Maat. It's like you can't, like, I read in the chat, Nukpu say he's forced to be here. He said he has to be here, and I feel the exact same way. I have to be on this frequency. This is the frequency that I'm supposed to be on, and I'm pretty sure when he says forced, he's not meaning it in a negative way, but just saying that this is the frequency that he has to be on. Maat is the foundation that he has to be on. And yeah, that's how I feel. It's like I love Maat too much to tell a lie about, like I love my people. I love my family too much to not tell them the truth. When I'm in class, when I got out of class yesterday, Saba's class, and I was, just speaking to my family. That was what I said. I was like, I have to share this with you. It's just another insight, and because I had, like I said, I could have gotten myself in trouble yesterday. I didn't, but I could have. But what happened was I immediately gave adoration and Hotep to the Neters, because I'm grateful to be in this frequency. I have to be here. I have to be on this frequency too. And in being there, it requires a level of accountability. And that level of accountability, Ma'at is truth. Ma'at is discernment. Ma'at is examination. So that high level of discernment allows me to see that our great Saba is leading by example, and what he's showing us is that we are the Neter, like you said, and we can be anything that we want to be, as long as we are on a particular frequency. But even on that other frequency, you could be that too. You know, any one of us could be, you know, on that ISFET frequency. We could easily just, you know, make that.
I hear that all the time.
You know,
I hear that all the time. If you just did these, if you could be doing this, you could be doing that, and it's like I know that I know I could be doing that, but that's not what I choose to do.
Absolutely. So I choose Maat. I choose this frequency, and yeah, I'm forced to be here too. Nukpu.
Yeah, that resonates.
I'm honored though. I'm honored to be here though. You know, like for me, it's an honor. You know, I'm honored to be in this frequency, in this truth frequency, because I rather the truth than the lie. You know, I rather Maat. For me, there is no other choice. For me, it's no other choice. Now, once you know, you can't unknow. You know, so now I know Maat. Now it comes a level of accountability and a responsibility. Yes. So, you know, and that responsibility that I feel is you know, giving adoration to the Neter, and becoming a Neter myself, like really doing taking the necessary steps to become that. You know, like you said, Minty, I think it was you talking about, or it might have been Ani, living up to the name, living up to the Ren that we have, living up to that frequency. You know, that in itself is an honor. You know, I'm honored to be a ATEF. It's an honor to live in that frequency. It's an honor, ATEF, Rem Qem Maat. That is such a Nefer frequency, you know, and it was just Saba just identifying the energy that we are, you know, who we are. And it's just beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. So I just want to do my part in holding the Neteru high, in high regard. I just want to do my part, you know, and make the Neter proud. That was one of the things that I sent into Saba when it was time to when he told you to send forth things about your name. That was one of the things that
your attributes.
I just want to make the Neter proud. Like I don't even, you know, I want to be celebrated in that same frequency. Like that's the frequency I want to be in. And I'm very familiar with the ISFET frequency. So it's not like I don't know what the other frequency entails. I'm very familiar with that. So yeah, for me it's a choice, and I have no choice but to keep Maat as my foundation. And in doing that, it's an honor. So Hinu, like I said, to all the Neteru, I named a list of a bunch of Neteru after my reading, Minty, and it was at least 30 names that I was unfamiliar with. I had never heard those tones before. Beautiful tones. So, but again, when I look at myself, like I said, I've said Batman more than I've uttered the tone Bastet. More than I've given adoration. I've given adoration to Batman in my life more than I have, meaning saying his name, saying, and it doesn't exist, right? Than I have to Bastet or Sekhmet or Tehuti or Heru or Aset or Neptet. I've given adoration to foolishness. So, you know, it's an honor for me to be in this frequency that I'm in. And, you know, I don't take it lightly. I don't take it for granted. So, you know, Tua for coming on the panel and sharing your beautiful tones with us.
Absolutely. Nani, I think that, you know, there's a reason for everything. And we're going down this path and identifying the Neteru, because there's so many of them, and I feel like once you have that beacon and you call out to them, I haven't even heard the presentation, but I know how powerful it is when you speak of them. They'll just start appearing. and they'll appear in synchronicities. They'll appear in the Upesh. They'll start appearing, and it's very powerful, very powerful. And there's no way that I could avoid it. There's no way that I could not be here. There's no way that I could not press that button, because that's who I am. And I'm allowing myself to be myself. And it's very powerful, and it's very empowering too.
Yeah, I think another thing that has been birthed in us, and another thing that we are learning are more holistic rituals and more ancestral rituals, instead of the rituals in the Matrix and the ISFAT rituals that they give us. We are steadily developing new rituals, and we're learning rituals from Saba, and in our growth and in our development, we can also start to see more clearly. Like, I'm not even checking for this movie, but I keep seeing these advertisements for the Bob Marley movie that's going to premiere on Valentine's Day. That is a ritual. That's a ritual. Like, they like doing this stuff on purpose. And
I'm not checking for anything. If it has nothing, if it doesn't have anything to do with the House of Aten, I'm not checking for anything.
The point that I'm making is, maybe before coming into this energy, I don't think I would have recognized what is about to happen and what is happening. So this pathway of consciousness, this pathway of awakening and awareness makes things more apparent to us that we may not have seen in the past. I just, I just like realized that is purposely done, right? And so
That's beautiful.
It's the evidence of the teaching that Saba is, and the Neteru is putting inside of us. It's the Uwajit, it's the Maat, so we can understand and know what's happening. I just wanted to share that because I saw the advertisement somewhere, I don't know what, and then it just dawned on me. I was like, oh, this is what they're doing. So they'll put one thing, I think Saba talked about this too. They'll put one thing with another thing. They'll put one thing with another thing so that they can accomplish the ritual that they're trying to achieve.
The links and associations.
Yes. So I just wanted to share. I just wanted to share that with you all.
That's beautiful. I mean, Ara is in your name. That your consciousness is expanding to levels that, at first maybe you couldn't comprehend the level that it's expanding to, but now it's at that level. You see everything. You're starting to see it, and then with the links and associations on top of that, it just gives you the perfect awareness. Very beautiful. Yes, brother. Nani Ugg.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just like with either one of our names. We could give a full class and breakdown, which is one of the names, not even just the whole name, and not even attributed to a person. And that's how powerful and deep the language is, and where we've in today's time have lost the importance of sound vibration, and why. And if you go back to any of my classes, there's always some teachings on that, and I focused on it in the beginning. What's the word? And how these names, or how these tones means something prior to it actually being a name for somebody. So either one of these names that we see on the screen, and even if my last presentation, each word, because I do it in sections, and showing the words and teaching on what it means, and it's actually a name of a Neteru, and I may not even bring it up and show that it's a Neteru's name, but each word that I go through, I can, right after I show exactly, oh, this is Peter, this means to see, this is the pet and the Ra, and then, you know, that is the Ptah, or any word. And that's how powerful and deep it is, and why, you know, today it's so very important for us to stand on something, to choose something to stand on, and understand that no matter whether you want to believe it or not, no matter if you don't want to put in any extra work to dig and to, you know, illuminate your ka, to even learn what that is. And okay, everyone knows what a spirit and a soul is, but once you understand where that comes from, and then, you know, who, you know, what we have to choose to do is our choice to make. And it's kind of why I've been focusing on focus, and what focus means, and how that is attached to judgment. And then it's beautiful because Sherry Cobb then asked Saba Tehuti about the 12 judges, which many people may not even know where that comes from or what that source is from, which of course is on the Purim Haru. And at the same time, while all this is happening, I'm actually breaking down the entire judgment scene, because I've never seen no one do it. I've seen some people talk about certain things, and of course you see the scales, but if you notice someone right next to the scale, there's someone right there with Neteru. There's a thing that's right above the person in the middle of the scales with a head on it. What is that? And so, you know, we can look at something, that's why it's so deep, because we can look at the same thing every day for a year and find something new, and then show how it's a word. So it's like, you know, who has time to do anything other than when you understand where the power is, and where you understand where the healing is, and what's necessary to be able to become conscious and aware when it's time to, again, have that final ejaculation out the body, and traverse through what all they gave us. You know, there's no time for any isfet and you know, negative energy to be floating around, and you know, it's a very coming into this awakening is not just like happy. It's not a happy thing, because you have to leave everyone behind, and you know, people that you love and people that you've always been with, and these are just things that have to happen for self, because when it's that time, no one has any. You have to first be able to do what's necessary for you, which is why the Purim Haru is built on Nuk Pu. All right, we got Nuk Pu in the class. It's I am me. I am doing this. I am saying this, and yes, you can have someone say something for you and to assist you, but it's just like anything else. If you don't want to do it for yourself, no one can make you do anything. And you know, oh, peace, Nicholas Noetic, it's good to see you in the chat. We didn't see you in the pod class, so it's good to know that you are safe and that you are here. Peace, brother. But yes, this you know, Sak and what I showed about the maxims of Ptah HOTEP, and focusing your Eve entirely upon excellence, and you know, and knowing that, you know, what you put your attention to creates your reality, and that's shown through the double slit theory, which I showed in one of my way earlier classes, and biocentrism, and you know, how your observation collapses wave functions into a particle. And we knew that. And that's why we chose, what Ptah HOTEP teaches, to focus your Eve entirely, not partly, not a little bit, not sometimes. No, the entire thing, the whole thing, upon Eker. And what it Eker, the excellence, which is an epithet of Tehuti, and why he's a representation of excellence in itself, because Tehuti is excellence. And, you know, then it creates the Akiru, which means to be perfect, the perfect Neteru. So with knowing this and having such powerful examples in Saba Tehuti and the Neteru and the ancestors in which we study in the readings that we read, and seeing, you know, with the eloquent peasant and how with the eloquency, if you want to deduct him to what people today call peasants, but he was the eloquent of speech and being able to speak to the chief steward and tell him to stand on Maat. And the chief steward didn't tell him, "Get out of here, peasant." He said, "No, you're right." And because that's a whole nother different level of consciousness. There is no negative ego in that, to where I'm the chief steward and you're this peasant farmer and you're telling me to stand on my eye. Get out of here. No.
This book right here, I go everywhere with this book. I carry this book in my arms like it's my baby. If I have to carpool with somebody, if I have to leave the house and go do something, I have it on me all the time.
What book is that, Minty? Hold it up. Oh, yeah.
And Brother Atef, I think you had mentioned sometimes you just get into a book and just flip the page. And whatever page it goes to, that's the message. And that's where you go. That's what I do.
Yep, exactly.
And it's beautiful because all the time I'll flip to the page and it'll just be like, boom, that's it. That's what I needed to hear. That's the message. That's where I'm at. And even if I'm not sitting there reading the book, I have it on me. I have this vibration with me, and this is something that I carry with me. So to the Neteru, and today when I was at the museum, I'm walking around with my Purim Haru. I'm walking through the museum with this book. People are looking at me like, okay, all right. And I'm like, yes, because everything, all the Greek statues that they're looking at and that they're worshiping, it all came from here. And I'm so happy and I'm so proud just to have access to this and know what it means. And I'm so grateful for our Saba.
Yes. What he's doing, so much can be said about what he's doing, but you know, it's just a very powerful thing. And yeah, I mean, so much has to be corrected, and who's going to correct it if the living ancestors of the Neteru don't? And Saba Tehuti, you know, says he's the last representation of the Neteru, and he's created us to also reflect that and be that as well. And another thing that I love, because coming into this information and knowledge, when you're just running around screaming pseudo, you're going through these different what people call spiritual experiences that cannot be explained, and learning how to defend yourself. So when I learned that the Neteru is an axe, and then read the story of Tehuti and Heru and Set, and when they're doing what they're doing, and Tehuti's not intervening. He could, but he didn't. That's deep to me. You know, why didn't he intervene? Why didn't any of the Neteru intervene in that and just let them do what they did? that's very deep to me, and it's very powerful. So yes, to mix the both was a marriage to me. That was, I couldn't have created something more better in my mind than to have the spiritual, the aku essence, and the facts to bring it together as one. So, you know, it's just a very powerful, extremely powerful thing. So, you know, we appreciate everyone who's a part of this and recognizes this and does what's necessary daily to, you know, become, you know, be able to represent the tones that you may have, and the consciousness of the tone, because the tones are conscious. The vibration is a consciousness in itself. So when people are calling themselves certain things, that vibration is conscious. It's aware that you're attributing yourself to that. So if you don't represent that, imagine if someone, you know, steals you and acts like you're them or they're you, and they ain't doing, and they ain't, you know, you've done what you've done to put yourself in a position, and someone comes and Sabatudi just spoke about that. It blows my mind every time he says that, when someone took his stuff and put their face on his video and he's teaching, but it's like, you know, what? That's crazy. That's crazy, but that's kind of how I see people who take on names, who just name themselves certain things, and you know, it's these are consciousness tones that have to be represented, and you know, so Hindu to the great Sabbath Tehuti for being who he is, and for doing what he's doing, and he brought the Hillary on camera at Neteru. And I love that, because people are like, oh, you know, you got bit by the this, and now you're done with this. Now he brings an even more dangerous, larger viper on the screen. Here you go. Like, no, like this is my life, and you know, it's just it's when Saba's on these platforms, it's a clear distinction of the separation, and that's what we're also, you know, training to be reflections of as well. So when we're in these spaces, the distinction is complete and clear. There's no question as to where the excellence exists. So, you know, it's just a beautiful thing, and I'm humbled to be a part of it. I love it. I love each and every one of you for going through the path as well. Because this is the challenge, and I tell my Neteru all the time, this is the most challenging path, but it's the most rewarding.
It's beautiful. I'm gonna head back to the chat, but before I go, I just want to say, you know, while I was walking around the museum holding my Param Haru, I look at my son and I'm like, I feel like I was born in the wrong timeline. And then I start thinking about it, and I'm like, no, I wasn't. I'm back. And I'm here to reclaim. I'm here to reclaim my power and my seat. So, Henu to you, brothers. Henu to Saba Tehuti, and House of Aten forever.
House of Aten forever. Peace, sister. We appreciate your energy.
Absolutely.
Yes, peace.
All right. If any great brothers have anything you want to add on, I have support to show, and then we can close out.
You could show the support, great brother.
Yes.
Okay. houseofaten.org. Everyone go there, support, get the merch, get the Pathways to Awakening digital video. And we had someone did Robert Williams. Peace, great brother. Tua for purchasing the Pathways to Awakening video. I want to give you a round of applause for that. So Tua, good brother. Yes, everyone, take the example of this great brother here, because, you know, everything that we're doing, you know, there's so much underneath what's happening, what we bring forward to you all. So take advantage of this. houseofaten.org, shop section, get the merchandise, get the Neteru, get the House of Aten. Get the logo, represent that, let that frequency walk with you. Wear the frequencies, just like we did in ancient times. So just message me, email me, and we'll get your merch out to you. Antu, shout out to the sister Antu and the brother Eric G. I'll be sending out your orders. Well, I was going to send them out tomorrow, but there's been like a snowstorm outside, so I don't know if I'll be able to do it, but this coming up week, we'll send it out to you all. So appreciate everyone who's purchasing the House of Aten merchandise. And I would love to get more support in that section so we can add more. I want to add more. I have many designs, colors that I want to bring forth, but there's other things I could be applying my attention to if, you know, certain things aren't getting that type of attention. So there's so many things to do, but if there's more support in that section, I'll be able to add more. And I would love to add more. You know, we're always creating here. So events, I also want people to go here under the events section, Pathways to Awakening, and purchase the digital experience. It's only $33.33 to resonate with of course, the mathematical codes. And the brothers put so much into this. There's a lot that went into this, and we're gonna do it again this year, and it's gonna be even greater, and we're gonna continue to ascend. So everyone go to the houseofaten.org and purchase this, the Pathways Digital Awakening, and see, you know, the process of us receiving our ring as a movement, the House of Aten, and the story behind that, and everything that took place at that event. So everyone go support in that way as well. All right, let me show the screen.
Can I share something really quick, brother Aten Tehuti?
Oh yes, of course.
Yes. So Sa speaks. He shares the story of how we received our REN as an organization. That is a very powerful ceremonial activity you should see of Saba speaking to us in his first in-person gathering with our family. So that hour or so he spoke, that is truly something you should definitely check out if you were not in attendance to the Pathways to Awakening. And our great Aten Tehuti is performing. So music that you can enjoy instead of the instrument that's taking over the airwaves is something you should definitely check out. It's definitely very powerful, this video that our great brother Aten Tehuti also edited for us.
To our great brother for that. Yes. I was had a lot of fun during that event. So many synchronicities. I love seeing the magic happen and just the things come up and how things just work out. It's just beautiful. Yeah, this is beautiful. So Tua, great brother, for putting that together and naming that, because that's a very powerful name as well. We got the lanyards with the Neteru on there. Need to do a class on what those words mean. Very powerful. All right, so let's start with this brother here, Ashnil Kumar, who sent in 727. He says, Hotep Maat, Namaste, peace, love, and respect for the profound works you brothers and sisters do on behalf of the Neteru Tehuti. I think your sounds were a little low, Brother Tef. There you go. All right, Hotep and Tua for those beautiful words there, and I'm sure each of us appreciate your appreciation, and it means a lot. So each and every one of you are so important to the growth that you see. So we appreciate you, and we appreciate your support. So it's good to see you. I haven't seen your name in the support in a while, so I'm glad to know that you're here, you're safe, and you're still in the frequency of Maat. So to our good brother. All right, next we have AFFIRMATION, who sends in 1111 for Tua Nefer Senu. Another fantastic member of the House of Aten. This great brother is excellent. I look forward to him bringing up to me soon. Hey, I want to have a small presentation I like to do, and I know he's definitely one who can do it. There's some other people as well. I'm not gonna say it. I just want you to. I'm looking forward to the great members having some teachings to bring forth and show how what we're doing, and showing the studies that we're taking into account, and how everyone has the ability to teach. And when you come into this information, how this is necessary for us to do so. To our good brother, for your support, the consistency that you provide, and we appreciate you. All right, next we have Israel Hoyley, Dashe in the chat, who sends in $10 for support. To our good brother Dashe, we appreciate you definitely, and for your words of support. It's funny. I remember when you came on the podcast last, and you asked me a question about music, and then you just bust into a rhyme and you start rapping. I was like, yes, I love to hear it. So. Shout out to you and your bars. All right. Next, we have the wonderful sister Minti Hotep, offerer of light, who sends in 505 for Hinu to the Neteru. Oh So yes, Minty put a great comment in the chat. She said, I also received my Ren at the Nefer Pathways to Awakening gathering. So you will see a live Ren ceremony. Absolutely. So you'll see what it's like to receive a Ren from Saba Tehuti and how it's a real ceremony. This isn't just, hey, you show up and hey, here's your name. No, you know, Saba Tehuti ain't like that. He explains and breaks down why, and it's just a beautiful thing. And what we receive, you actually receive something physical for you to take with you. So it's just a beautiful thing. And yes, Minti Hotep received her Ren at the Pathways to Awakening. So you will see that as well in the digital video. So to our sister for your support. All right, next we have Nito Campbell, who's Squano trending in the chat, who sends in $9 for peace, everyone. The most consistent supporter on YouTube from the very beginning, Nito Campbell. We appreciate you, good brother. You're definitely one of the most consistent people since the beginning. So we appreciate you. All right, next we have the great brother Nook who sends in 222 for Henu Kes, DJ Translator, DJ Translator, Neteru, ATEF, the Neterus exist. And we have and then he sent in one more, 333 for Henu Kes, Nini Uk, Neteru, ATEF for that Nefer Heka. Yes. You want to speak to that, Atef? He called you DJ Translator.
To our great brother, for those Nefer words. I appreciate it. I'm learning. I'm gonna get there, good brother. I'm gonna get there. I gotta earn it though. I gotta earn it. So I appreciate that.
Yes, to our good brother Nutpu, Ma'akaru, Amun Ray. Peace to you. All right. Next we have Bijan Pharaoh, who sends in $20 for support, peace, and love. Hotep Maat. Peace to this good brother, Bijan Pharaoh, another great consistent supporter. He's the first to get a reptile from Saba Tehuti. He's getting, I think, Sobek the Younger. So that's very powerful. Good brother, and I look forward to hearing, you know, the frequency change that happens with you receiving an animal from Saba Tehuti. Peace and love, good brother. All right, and lastly, I think this is the last support that we have to show, is Robert E. Williams Jr., 1172, for support for the channel. Henu, and to our great brother for supporting the way that you do. We appreciate that. And you know, for your consistency. It's excellent. So Tua and Henu. All right, so that's the support. We appreciate and give everyone adoration who supports us. You all are amazing. So We appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing, you know, what we accomplished this year. We're on the road, the pathway to 1,000 subscribers. So share this, put this out there, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and we're going to continue to keep building on knowledge and information. Shout out to all of the House of Aten members. Matter of fact, let me give you all a shout out and pull this up to give you all the adoration you deserve. All right, let me share the screen. And here, so we have House of Aten membership. This is in the newsletter. Everyone should be signed up for the newsletter, houseofaten.org. Scroll all the way to the bottom, put in your email address. I send out a newsletter every Sunday. So Hinu to Black Alucard, Angie Martinez, Seth Shait, Jay Kirkland, Primordial Thought 9, Stephen E, Oxafek. Let me put that in my notes to update your name. So there we go. Put it in my notes. So I'm gonna update your name from Stephen E to Oxafek, Hinu to you, Eric G, Nook Poo, Nicholas Savensden, Big Vapes, Maharu, Minti HOTEP NUTI Maat, Raw Minerals, also known as Nahom, Lit London, K, and our latest, Lena Sueves. Hinu, we appreciate you, and all of the House of Aten supporters. You know, we send this out every single week for you all to see. So Hotep Hinu to all the great supporters, all the House of Aten members, and we appreciate you. All right, so I'll close out by saying, you know, I appreciate everyone, and if you all didn't watch Saba Tehuti, Primordial Thought 9, if you can put that link that from Saneter's show that Saba Tehuti just did, put that in the chat room for us, so everyone has that link. Go and watch that. It was a wonderful class. The way our great Saba Tehuti does what he does. So everyone go check that out. I look forward to next week, next Sunday, and what I'll be teaching on. It's going to be powerful. And you know, I look forward to bringing that to you all. And may you all have a wonderful night. Have a safe week. I know in some areas, there's a lot of ice and snow, so be safe in your travels, and continue to stay in the studies. Continue to focus your Eve entirely upon excellence. Sa'ak Eve Neb Rabu Eker. Focus your heart, your Eve entirely upon excellence. Sakim Im Arit Murder Ka'a Semu Hatu Neteru Pert in HOTEP. I have obtained the power to do what pleases my Ka. May the hearts of the Neteru lead me. I come forth in peace. HOTEP.
Peace and love, everyone. Peace and love to the chat. Hinu to the brothers on the panel. Hinu to Minti for coming up and sharing her tones. This is the love that continues to give, like Aten, that allow us to breathe and grow and to have a light to adorn. So I'm very, very, very thankful for the reading and the knowledge and the informations of the Neteru. Looking forward to seeing those who will be in the Meta Netter Monday class tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing you all in Saba Tehuti's pod class. And again, next Sunday, what Aten Tehuti will be sharing with us, and we know that will be special. So Hinu to you all for a wonderful pod class. and a beautiful night.
HOTEP, peace and love. I just want to show everyone before we close out this beautiful class. This is a beautiful Sonnet game that Saba taught on yesterday. Amazon does deliver in one day. It's beautiful wood. My daughter just told me, she said it smells like bananas. It's a beautiful game. I'm definitely looking forward to playing with it, playing with my children and teaching them. So yeah, it was like $30 on Amazon. So it's a beautiful thing. So this was a beautiful class. Yes, this is a great energy that we're in. We're gonna close. Hinu to everyone in the chat. Hinu to all the Neteru that I named and the ones that I did not name. May you be pleased with us in the work that we do at the House of Aten. May we continue to make the Neters proud. And Hinu to our great Saba Tehuti, Amenhotep Ra. Hinu to our great general out there, Ahati Maat. Peace and love to you, great brother. And with that, we will end as we do every week with our beautiful affirmation. Han Netri Ahe Utet Si Mes Su Tisef Ta Tu M Ib Ati Bakau Netri Neteru Neter Cow Ka Cow Mbak Netri Ib Cow Neter Cow Ku Cow Usur Cow Baku Boy Neti, heir of eternity, begetting and giving birth to himself. I am devoted in my heart without feigning. O thou Neteru, more than the gods. I have become a neter. I have risen up in the form of a hawk. I have become pure. I have become a neter. I have become a spirit. I have become strong. I have become a ba. Unki and Maat, Un and S, Nintet or Set and Maat, Min Hapapet and Maat, Her in Hukui, Per Ikut. I live for Maat. I exist within her. I do not speak in the place of Maat. Every day I advance towards Maat. My being is surrounded in darkness. I come forth as conscious light. Peace and love, HOTEP.
Trinity Soliloquy. A path less taken, no one sits adjacent. Stand on your square was before the Masons. See how 3 3s control just like the degree. Flow, fire. 3 2 is the point where you froze. Eyes closed, yet I can still see. Show actions alongside your speech. Spoke words of magic to unwind what's happened. Alighted in angled ones with slight curves. The nerve of them to think they could use my magic on me. I'm consciousness of the original land of the Trinity. Kemet. Maat is the owl of sight. What's dark to you is light to me. All I see are 3s. I lift veils like my child is a bride to be. Triangles not yet explored. Lead with left. Right is flat on the floor. 90 degrees. V's. Ascension up. Scale. Lean on lines like Google activist. Hinu was original black fist. Res erection. Hinu is also the phallus. I point out and spit life into the womb. Portals, that's the first matrix. Mother goddesses give praises. Vision acute for the ones obtuse. Appoint me to the source of anointing. Apply oil under spells when raising a Bible. Just go spell. Numbers creating angles, geometric language. Travel up ladders with these letters. Gematria. These words aren't adding up for the better. Chanting in mirrors. Ua, sin, Kemet. 1, 2, 3. This art has no limit. No cap, don't need a degree. This is a collage of knowledge applied. But I guess it's dumb to be wise and speak. Freemason is 9-6, that's 15. 1 plus 5 is 6, that's 3-3. Sex, hex, they have them thinking a man was supposed to bleed for your life to be eternal. Please wake up and rise, rest. God is within thee. This isn't belief. Menstrual moon cycles. Yah is the name of Tehuti. ABCs. The alpha beta has them in a spell that they can't see. Silent K's. G's disappear with no knowledge. They hide their hands, rock, stone, and trees. The illusion is that they feel free. Feel free.
Those who doubt what this may be, second danger round. Wow. For those who think this is not what you saw on the screen, I just want to hear something? Oh! Wow! Wow! This is the real thing. You know when I the snake rattling?
Yes.
I want to tell you guys something here. Let me see. I'm going to show you the example of the black snake rattling. I don't know if this is this is really over. Ooh. I want you to know something. That's not an example. That actually is the one that I'm holding right now. Y'all see anything in front of me with horns?
Yes, yes.
All right, so this is a TEF. This is a TEF right here. Hey, TEF, how you doing? Show them your beautiful head. There we go.
Some of those horns are epic.
You can see it clear in the screen. So there's this is a
Yo, let's go.
Shed. Close my eyes, then I woke up back in my bed. I could see my room as clear as looking through a lens. See, I thought I was awake, so then I tried to move, but my body shocked me like I was plugged in a socket. I started panicking and scrambling within my mental. I thought I died and now my body, I'm forever locked in. I was screaming, help me, someone help me please. But there wasn't any sound making it through my teeth. I could see movement in motion, shadows gather around me. How could I close my eyes already closed? Eating alkaline at this time, fasting reads though shocking. I was stuck in a paralysis, it had me froze. It's time to shed. It's time to shed. I heard a voice in the back of my head. Rebirth, it's time to shed. It's time to shed. It's time to shed. I heard a voice in the back of my head. Rebirth, it's time to shed. I finally started waking up and coming back. I was in the opposite of state's effect. That's relaxed, I grabbed my phone and started to do research. Knowledge of what happened, I was in a lack. Insidious, the movie came direct to mind. Every time I've seen this, it was connected to what's not divine. Demons crawling forcefully, holding the body down. Ain't no point in trying to scream, you will not make a sound. Deep within, I knew I made that a reality. The all is mine, I saw it, and so shall it be. I start replacing fear with knowing universe is mental. Talking to my subconscious to wake me up in dreams. Then one day my spirit guys came in so essential. Daylight's astral playing loud in my dream helped to set me free. I'm back in paralysis laying on my couch. But this time I was calm, ready to exit out. It's time to shed. It's time to shed. I heard a voice in the back of my head. Rebirth, it's time to shed. It's time to shed. It's time to shed. I heard a voice in the back of my head. Rebirth, it's time to shed. From what I read, I need to move my arms in front of me. See a rope and pull it, separate and then release. Now I'm out, I see my house is gleaming, I accept it. Looking in the mirror, staring at my car's reflection. I was so ecstatic, flying in every direction. This was months of subconscious reprogramming and redirection. Place my thoughts in my body, wake up, that's what I did. I was reborn from that day so I could start to live. It's time to shed. It's time to shed. I heard a voice in the back of my head. Rebirth, it's time to shed.
There is no spoon.
But I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it.